Road rage incidents going up all over the country and here in Utah. More with Dave and Dujanovic coming up next.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
9 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour is breaking news. Police are investigating a shooting on the 21st South Freeway near 900 West, and they say it was another case of road rage. One person is dead and one person is in custody as a result of the shooting, and there is no estimate yet of when the highway will be reopened. Be sure to stay with KSL News Radio and KSLNewsRadio.com for updates on the story. Utah is the youngest state in the country, but it's getting older. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
Researchers say it's because the average fertility rate in the country is declining, marking a historic low and a second consecutive year of decline. Utah's fertility rate went down 30.4%. That decline is more than double that of the 50-year average, according to the Pew Research Center. Salt Lake County is aging with 11.9% of its population being 65 years or older, and in 1980, they were less than 8% of the county population. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The United States has spent a record of at least $17.9 billion on military aid to Israel since the war in Gaza began 1 year ago. That's according to a report by Brown University's Costs of War project released Monday on the anniversary of Hamas's attacks on Israel. The report says an additional $4.86 billion has gone into stepped-up U.S. military operations in the region since the October 7th attacks. Your money at this moment, the Dow is off 186 right now. We're at 42,166. Well, this warm weather continues. We'll check it next. KSL Weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:02. Here's a way to get breaking news updates anywhere you go.
At the store or in a work meeting, you can get breaking news on your phone.
You can quickly read it, swipe, or click for more. It's super discreet, super fast.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
We're in St. George, and Jenny found a home online that she really loved.
And then we went through it with our realtor. He started pointing out things that were going to just lead us to a money pit.
We would have been in this house $50,000 or more in repairs.
With the help of our realtor, we were able to find a brand new home for $100,000 less than what we would have been paying for one that was 12 years older. We thought we were going to save money not using a realtor, but in the end, our realtor actually saved us over $150,000.
Let an experienced realtor guide you. Go to myrealtorstory.com.
IVC is celebrating 20 years providing quality service in Utah. You've probably heard their saying by now, life starts when the pain stops. IVC is the most trusted interventional and vein center in the state, and they've been voted Best of Utah Valley 10 years running. The 7 physicians at IVC provide state-of-the-art, comprehensive vein care with many years of experience. The team at IVC takes the time to get to know you and your veins so you're comfortable with the right diagnosis and the right treatment. Patients are like family at IVC. You've also heard many radio ads over the years with real people describing how IVC has dramatically improved their quality of life by eliminating the pain and discomfort caused by varicose veins. Well, what are you waiting for? Don't let vein disease slow you down even one more day, because life starts when the pain stops. Visit ivein.com today to set up a free screening. That's ivein.com.
Have you ever heard of the 5 Ps? That's right, the 5 Ps. These can be applied to most every area of your life, but it's especially true for you and your money. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and many years ago when I was a young man in the Marine Corps, I learned about the 5 Ps. Proper planning prevents poor performance. Now, you can't control what's happening with the stock market, but you can control how you plan for it. Trajan Wealth and our fiduciary advisors have been helping our clients with the 5 Ps for years. We have hearts of teachers and will never complicate by using financial jargon. Our fee structure is transparent. The more you make, the more we make. The majority of our clients come from other financial advisors. Isn't it time for a second opinion to allow Trajan Wealth to help you with the 5 Ps too? Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600 or visit TrajanWealth.com.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
At Macy's, we're proud to be local and support local. Carrying local products and produce is important to us. We are proud to support our local growers and bring peak freshness to you and your family. To make shopping local easier for you, we have added Utah Proud tags beneath local products. As you shop our stores, look out for the tags as you shop and show your pride for local Utah companies and growers. Thank you for shopping local yourself by shopping at Macy's. Macy's, happy shopping!
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Mark Christiansen.
And emergency traffic continues eastbound 201 freeway due to this closure just about 9th West or so. All traffic being diverted off at Redwood Road. Your best bet is backed up to Mountain View Corridor. Your best bet is to use 35th to go eastbound or I-80 to go eastbound. Now, if you're headed northbound on 215 or northbound on Bangor are also trying to make that switch over. It's just tough right through the area there. And HP out with the left lane blocked if you're northbound I-15 about 4500 south. Two Brothers Mattress is your locally owned Tempur-Pedic dealer. Right now, get a Tempur-Pedic for under $50 a month with 0% financing. OAC. Learn more at twobrothersmattress.com. I'm Mark Christiansen in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today will be another summer-like day with the highs around 84 degrees and just a few clouds. Right now it's 63 downtown. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
We get right to our breaking news this morning off the top of the show. If you're just jumping in the car, avoid eastbound 201 through the heart of Salt Lake County because we got word early this morning of a fatal road rage shooting, according to the Utah Highway Patrol, in the area of about 9th West.
And this has not just been a problem for this morning. This has been a problem over the last several months. And we have some new numbers. We just saw them this morning, Debbie, that really speak to how prevalent these road rage incidents have become.
We need to get out right away to Adam Small, who is live on the scene and has been there for the better part of the morning. What can you tell us about this morning's fatal shooting, Adam?
Well, Debbie, right now we know that this happened. It had to have happened sometime before 7 o'clock because that was about the point we started hearing some chatter and that we needed to, get out here and try to figure out what was going on. What I can tell you is that all police have told us is that one person's in custody, there's one person dead, and we know that there was a shooting and that this is road rage related. So we know that for sure. But in terms of the scene, we're really just waiting to get more details because the scene is still so active right now. I mean, I was reporting, about a half hour ago, you can see this one car, which doesn't look like a police car, that looks like it's crashed into the barrier as you're coming towards the off-ramp at eastbound 201, coming towards the 9th West off-ramp. In terms of another car involved, it's kind of hard to tell which one might be involved because it's surrounded by at least a half a dozen police cars, which is also in turn surrounded by yellow caution tape and tons of investigators out here right now trying to piece together what led up to this, who these people are that were involved. But, yeah, we do know that this was a fatal road rage shooting for sure.
So, Adam, you are seeing one crash vehicle. We're not sure where that second alleged vehicle may be.
Right, yeah. So I can see maybe one or two cars. I can see one in front of me for sure that doesn't have any police lights on it. But, of course, some cars are unmarked, so it's just really difficult to see which one's which. We do know it looks like one car for sure that was involved, at least from what I'm seeing, is one that's crashed off into the barrier. In terms of where the victim's body is, I'm still working to figure that out. And also, that we do know one person's been taken into custody. I don't know if that person's still here on the scene or if they've been booked into jail again. It's so early on. We're just kind of waiting for police to come fill us in as soon as they can.
Now, I've read some news reports, and we'll be able to confirm this in about 20 minutes after 9:30 or so, 9:35, when Lieutenant Cameron Roden of the Utah Highway Patrol is scheduled to call the show, that this may have happened as early as 5:30 this morning. And again, if you're just getting in your car and you're commuting toward the downtown area, you need to avoid eastbound 201. In a few seconds, we'll get live over to Andy Farnsworth, who is standing by in our traffic center with updates on on that closure in the area and how backed up traffic is. So, Adam, a couple of questions I have for you, and you probably don't know the answers to these that we will be asking UHP is, were there any other passengers in the car or either vehicle? Has a weapon, been recovered that was allegedly used in this fatal shooting? And then, of course, that big question is what in the world could have led up to this, to the point where somebody is not going home to their family tonight?
Yeah, all great questions, Debbie, all things I'm trying to figure out. But what I can say is the fact that they have got one person in custody, it seems like the scene was isolated to this one portion of the freeway. So, I mean, while I am waiting to get confirmation on, say, like the weapon, if there are any other passengers, very good chance we will get answers to those because of the fact that it looks like this was contained. We don't know what witnesses or whoever passerbys may have called this in. But I think there is a good chance that we will definitely get some, more clear, concise answers to those questions. I'll be sure to bring them to you as soon as I got them.
Adam Small, thank you for joining us, KSL News Radio reporter.
Okay, Adam's on standby for us the minute he learns anything new. Andy Farnsworth, you've had emergency traffic for us all morning long. What do you know about the closure on eastbound 201?
Well, they've been forcing everybody to exit at Redwood Road, even though the incident happened a little bit east of that. And as they mentioned in an interview earlier, it was to kind of protect the crime scene and evidence. But what it's done, though, is just turned all of West Valley and the west side of Salt Lake City trying to head east into just one big parking mess. It's been 5 miles of delay for most of the morning. It's had an outsized impact on Bangerter Highway's traffic through West Valley going north. For some reason, people aren't reading the signs, and they're still trying to exit off of 215 and over onto 201 and then immediately getting forced off. So it's going to be a while. People have been stuck in this delay upwards of an hour, some of them, and there's just not, there's not a ton of alternate routes. I-80 is probably the best one, but even that's had some slow spots between the airport and I-15. It's better, and if you're coming out of Tooele, you ought to switch to I-80 or it's basically your own fault for getting in the backup if you don't.
Andy, I wanted to mention that I did see the alert come over my phone this morning as I was leaving the house, and I was able to don't normally take eastbound 201 into work, but was able to thankfully avoid it. Sometimes I do. I jumped on I-15 northbound off of 106th, and that seemed to be pretty seamless. Hopefully I-15 is flowing smoothly.
It's not, unfortunately.
Okay.
Well, we had an issue, too, earlier where we had a pedestrian walking up the freeway in Murray.
Oh, no.
And, no, they didn't get hit. We watched Highway Patrol came and got them. They were all right. But there's a crash before that, or like a car ran into the barrier near 45th South in Murray, and between that and then they had to do a slowdown to protect the pedestrian. We've got traffic backed up on I-15 from like 90th South all the way to 45th South. So it's an ugly morning. It just is.
Andy Farnsworth,
morning. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us from the KSL Traffic Center.
Just to recap, what we do know is that one person is dead after a fatal freeway shooting. It happened, we believe, eastbound 201. That freeway, of course, has been closed down since very, very early this morning. I saw the alert come over my phone at about 6 a.m. or so this morning. We know that one person is in custody. We do not know if the weapon has been recovered. We don't know if there were passengers in the car. We actually don't know who was the person who was shot in terms of, was it the driver? Was it a passenger? All questions we will be asking you, the Utah Highway Patrol. They are scheduled to call the show within the next 20 minutes.
Yes, and early on when we don't know the details here, we don't know if the shooter was acting in self-defense. We don't know if they were the aggressor. We don't know any of that. But right now, as the investigation is taking place, and as you heard from Adam Small, he said there are just numerous police vehicles there. The investigation is going on, and it has caused this 5-mile delay on eastbound 201.
If you're like me and you feel like you're reading a lot about road rage shootings and incidents that have been escalating across Utah over the last couple of months, I have felt that way. And then this morning when we heard this news that somebody was shot and killed in what UHP is calling it another road rage incident, we started going over the numbers. July, we reported 20 road rage incidents, according to the Utah Highway Patrol. August, Utah saw 10 road rage related incidents on our freeways and our highways and our roads. In September, Utah had 11 road rage incidents. And today we have another fatal road rage shooting.
And we only know what we can track. And I love that this new law has created a better way to track these specific incidents, because I don't think people realize or understand how common road rage, like serious, dangerous road rage, is happening on our Utah roads right now, every single day.
But part of the design behind this new law that took effect this summer was to deter drivers from road raging. And here we have dozens of situations where people are getting hurt and they're losing their lives in road rage incidents. Straight ahead, Greg Skordas, our legal analyst, joining the show to walk us through what this new law does and perhaps isn't doing, at least not yet.
Dave and Dujanovic.
You know KSL is the only news radio for your car, right?
The only news radio for your smart speaker.
Come here in the morning. It's the latest news and traffic. In the afternoon, news and updated weather.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
Jim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. I want to tell you about our famous "You Don't Need a Warranty" warranty. That's right. It's a warranty you don't need, but we give it to you anyway. Let me explain. Most warranty problems for siding, gutters, and windows are caused by not installing stuff right in the first place. If you rush the work, cut corners, or use subpar materials, you're just begging for problems later. At RGS Exteriors, we don't tolerate careless workmanship. We slow down, focus on every detail, and use only the best materials. We prevent warranty work by doing the job right in the first place. That's why the 10-year everything guarantee we give you is also known as our "You Don't Need a Warranty" warranty. We absolutely will be there if you need to use it. But honestly, you probably will never have to. Done right the first time. That's the RGS way. For siding, gutters, and windows, call 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsexteriors.com.
Nobody had this team 5-0.
It's in the air a long time. Picked off! That'll be the ball game!
Undefeated. Top of the Big 12. Playoff dark horse. But Saturday, BYU defends its house against Arizona. This is a big one, Cougar fans. We take your calls Monday night at 6 on Cougar Nation. And Saturday, pregame coverage starts at noon and the kick is at 2 on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio.
Get ready. Mortgage rates are at the lowest they've been in a while. So make time for Hercules First Federal Credit Union. You've been patient, and now it pays off. Discover a variety of flexible mortgage options and products for everyone, even those of you with less than perfect credit. First-time home buyer? Hercules programs deliver specialized mortgages with low down payment options. That means the dream of home ownership is within reach of more of the community. Refinancing? Hercules helps you lower your monthly payments, consolidate debt, or reduce high interest rates. And Hercules helps support you beyond the mortgage, offering help with budgeting, lots of ownership tips, and timely advice. Hercules has been offering high-quality service and products since 1946. So discover more at HerculesCU.com. HerculesCU.com. Hercules First Federal Credit Union, growing stronger together. Learn more at HerculesCU.com. Equal housing lender, insured by NCUA.
Head to Logan for funky fall fun. Jump on your brooms and join us for a fantastic fall break. Here's what's brewing. The North Logan Pumpkin Walk, October 10th through the 15th. Okay, there's no way to describe this amazing and colorful experience, but I will try. There are hundreds of carved pumpkins, plus dozens of displays crafted from painted pumpkins, gourds, and other random vegetables. You have to see it for yourself, and it's free. Celebrate Utah's Harvest Heritage, October 18th and 19th at the American West Heritage Center's Fall Harvest Festival. Grain threshing, apple pressing, pony rides, train rides, antique tractors, games, and fun. Get your scream on all month long for spooky encounters on the historic downtown Logan Ghost Tour, or traipsing through a couple of giant corn mazes that may or may not be haunted. Check out live theater and music performances, great restaurants, golf, and USU football games. Head to Logan for funky fall fun. Explore logan.com/fall.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Paid for by government. Did you hear? A secret hoard of 1932 $10 gold Indian coins have been found. These gorgeous 1932 gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck. and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling the secret U.S. gold coin discovery a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you can own a piece of the hoard. When you call, you are guaranteed a 1932 dated gold coin featuring Lady Liberty with an Indian war headdress and a majestic eagle. With limited availability, you must call now. These 1932 dated gold coins are still in uncirculated condition with brilliant luster. That is 92 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-495-6468. Call now and you'll receive a free bonus over a $55 value free with every order. Call 1-800-495-6468 now to secure your 1932 $10 gold Indian coins before they sell out. Don't wait. You must act fast. Call now.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Amanda Dixon. First, a road rage shooting on SR 201 is backing up traffic in Salt Lake City. One person is in police custody. Second, a car is now at the bottom of Deer Creek State Park after someone mistook the boat ramp for the highway. The driver was able to get out unharmed. And third, it's been 1 year since the deadly terror attacks in Israel. Hamas are believed to still be holding at least 97 hostages. Right now, it's 63 degrees in Salt Lake. Back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Continuing to follow the developing story on eastbound 201 that's been shut down for a good portion of the morning due to what UHP is calling a fatal road rage shooting. Lieutenant Cameron Roden scheduled to join the show from the UHP in about 15 minutes. Here's what he told Utah's Morning News just before the end of their show this morning at 9 a.m.
So it was early this morning. We had reports of a road rage situation on SR 201 eastbound. We are still looking into see exactly what happened, but it sounds like this ended in shots fired. And at this point, we have one individual that is deceased and the other involved in custody working with law enforcement.
And what it has done, it has caused huge traffic delays and backups, and a 5-mile delay, in fact, on eastbound 201.
So recently, Utah lawmakers, or Utah law, took effect that is supposed to tighten the penalties and enhance the penalties when road rage is an issue in an incident on our freeways, our highways, even our side streets. In July, UHP tells us there was 20 road rage incidents. In August, 10. In September, 11. And then you add today's fatal road rage shooting that Utah Patrol has been talking to us about all morning long. And we are potentially, Greg scored us up to 42. I'm not sure that number is all-inclusive of October's numbers this far. Such a tragedy this morning, once again, on our freeway related to a fatal road rage shooting. This law is designed to enhance the penalties and to some degree, I would hope, deter people from road raging. Yet I have to wonder if that's really working yet.
Well, the law is just going to effect right now. I mean, it's a very, very recent law, but it does enhance the penalties. So a crime that would normally be, for example, a third-degree felony, if it involves road rage, will be a second degree. It bumps it up 1 degree. But there are other deterring conditions, penalties, I should say, with respect to this new law that I think could potentially be helpful. One is that the judge can actually remove the perpetrator's driver's license. So if you're involved in a road rage incident, you could lose your driver's license and you could lose your vehicle. It could be impounded. So those could be additional deterrences that maybe the penalties are not going to cover. But we need to do something, and I have to applaud the legislature for at least trying because, like you say, these incidents of road rage have just gotten completely out of hand.
Greg, what are the parameters if someone was to lose their license or their vehicle? Does it have to be a shooting, or is it up to the discretion of the judge?
It's quite discretionary with the judge. That's a good question, and I think it's going to be sorted out because judges may look at whether it's a first or second offense, whether it was more than just, pushing or shoving or something like that. But certainly if it's like if somebody evades the police, they could lose their license. Obviously, a DUI, you can lose your license. So we already have certain laws in effect that allow judges that discretion, and this is just another one. And I think judges will be circumspect, but I think they'll also be fair and just say, look, This conduct is so outrageous. We need to set an example. We need to let the community know that the consequences could be more than just going to court and paying a fine.
Well, of course, Greg, when a fatality is involved and it involves a shooting, we don't know all the details yet about today's shooting and what led up to it. And those will be sorted out by police and prosecutors over the coming days. But there's a potential for a perpetrator to lose their freedom and end up in court on some very serious charges. But where you're talking about somebody losing their license and their car as well, not all road rage incidents end in fatalities.
Right, and that's a great point. That's why the loss of the license and the impoundment can be important, because certainly if somebody's convicted in this particular case we're talking about today or charged with a homicide, maybe a murder or a manslaughter, yeah, they're going to prison. They're going to be for a long time. That's certainly a great deterrent. But there are others for lesser crimes that could include, like we're talking about here, at least taking them off the road for some period of time, whether it's 6 months, a year, 2 years, taking their car away from them for some equal period of time. So there could be other things that a judge or a prosecutor can do to try to alleviate this from continuing to happen with people who may have that propensity to violence.
Greg, I would imagine one of the hardest things about road rage incidents is actually being able to document them because if somebody cuts you off or they drive erratically, trying to get a license plate, keep yourself safe. I would imagine this is especially difficult to prosecute if there isn't some sort of a crash or an incident because it's the very definition of you're on the go, you're moving, you're traveling at high speeds oftentimes. I would imagine it's incredibly difficult to crack down on this.
It is, and it's really discretionary for law enforcement, Dave. So if two people are just yelling at each other out the window or making obscene gestures or something like that, I mean, that's a problem. That's something that absolutely should be addressed, but not something that UHP is going to pull over every driver every time they hear two people yipping at each other. But certainly when it comes to people pulling off the side of the road, getting out of their car, engaging in any sort of physical confrontation at all, that's when it well overcrosses the line, and when I think that prosecutors and now judges and police can do things more than they have in the past if it is a road rage-related incident, because something has to be done about this. It's actually become a bit of an epidemic.
Yes.
Greg
absolutely.
Skordas, thank you so much for joining us on the line. He's our legal analyst here at KSL, talking to us in light of today's latest road rage fatal shooting on eastbound 201. In a few moments, we're going to get you over to the traffic center for the latest update. They've had the eastbound lanes of the 201 shut down for the better part of the morning. Andy Farnsworth joining us just a few moments ago to walk us through the backup there, eastbound 201. So if you're heading out of Tooele, you're heading out of the west end of the valley, you're going to want to avoid the 201 this morning.
Yeah, going back to what Greg was saying, is it's difficult to crack down on this. As much as I appreciate what the legislators have done, passing this law and increasing penalties, catching somebody is the best deterrent, right? Is making sure you hold somebody accountable. And I think this is where technology will play a crucial role in the future, and something that I think, quite honestly, the technology is there. We have cameras. We have HD cameras that can record what is going on in surroundings. So if somebody cuts you off or is driving erratically or dangerously, then we can turn that video over.
So a state parks camera, jumping back a couple of weeks to a road rage incident that's been alleged by the Wasatch County Sheriff's Office. That state parks camera captured what detectives have described as a shooting of a man by the name of Patrick Hayes. He left the city of Midvale at about 9:30 in the evening one evening and was heading up to his home just outside of Park City. Then some sort of an incident happened. In a news release, the sheriff's office reported that it looked like there had been some damage to Mr. Hayes' car just before the shooting. And that camera, according to authorities, captured Mr. Hayes approaching the driver of either a Jeep Gladiator or a Jeep Rubicon. That's my last read of the news release. and the driver of that Jeep lunging forward in the vehicle toward Mr. Hayes. And eventually what happened is that somebody fired shots or a shot from within that Jeep and killed Mr. Hayes, and his body was later discovered there at Jordanelle State Park. To my knowledge, that case has gone unsolved. However, police officers, detectives have technology on their side, like you mentioned.
Yeah, and that's the key, right? Where it's becoming more and more prevalent, and I think even the threat, if people think they're being recorded, you can see that they will dial back their response. Not always. That's not always the case. There's plenty of people that go crazy with the cameras rolling right in their face. But I still think that is one of the best solutions.
Caitlin, just give me a thumbs up. Is UHP still slated to join the show in 4 minutes? Okay, Utah Highway Patrol Lieutenant Cameron Roden in the lineup next, calling the show to give us the latest details of what police are releasing about this morning's alleged road rage fatal shooting on the eastbound 201.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour, a nonprofit organization says they will continue to do what they can to restore a historic building in the ballpark neighborhood. KSL News Radio's Alessandra Gurr reports.
The Salt of the Earth nonprofit organization is working to restore the Fifth Ward Meeting House in Salt Lake after it was damaged on Easter earlier this year. The organization states the estimated cost of repairs exceeds $500,000, and they are working to gather funds to help in the restoration. Their website states the group's ultimate goal in restoring the Fifth Ward building is to preserve shared heritage and create a space where the community can gather, learn, and grow.
The group is hosting an event for the public on October 12th to gather and organize bricks and materials to help in the restoration process. Our top national story this hour from ABC News, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is updating residents on Hurricane Milton, which is now a Category 4 storm.
Hurricane watches have been issued for portions of west central Florida and Florida's Nature Coast. Tropical storm watches extend further south and north through southwest Florida and the Keys and along portions of the Florida Panhandle.
The state is preparing for evacuations with Milton's landfall expected sometime in the middle of this week. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 154 right now. We're at 42,198. Coming up, more of that warm weather continuing. KSL Weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:32.
Doesn't just mean information or dates.
It's the story of our local history being told in real time.
Be a part of the story. This is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
We hope to be a part of your story. We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
One of the things I love about Utah is the weather. I like all the seasonal changes. I like a hot summer. I like a cold winter, a beautiful fall. I love all of that. But with these season changes, what I've noticed is it really dries out my skin. It's something, obviously, here in the desert we deal with all the time, and especially in my family, that's what we struggle with. It's why we called Connecticut of Utah and said, hey, can you come and help us out? Because we know that soft water is a great solution for very dry skin. And they came out and they walked us through the entire process of and the science behind why soft water is so helpful. And I tell you, we've had it for years and years, and we've been so happy with it. My kids actually, if I ever forget to put some salt in the bin, which I have to do, I don't know, every few months, they're like, Dad, I think we're out of soft water. I can feel the difference. So all I got to do, throw in a little salt in the bin, and we're up and running, and we've loved it. So if you're interested in getting some soft water into your home and making that investment, and we saw it as a long-term investment, give Connecticut of Utah a call, 801-576-8600. That's 801-576-8600. They're an authorized Connecticut dealer, and you can check them out online at softwaterutah.com.
I don't feel so good.
You do feel hot. Dayquil Kids will take care of that fever.
What about my cough?
Dayquil Kids has that covered.
Will it make my throat feel better?
Yes, that too.
But will it taste good?
Yep, Dayquil Kids comes in your favorite flavor.
Purple?
Well, yes, it's grape.
Try new Dayquil Kids Plus Fever, the daytime coughing, aching, sore throat fever just for kids medicine. Safe for kids 6+. Use as directed.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
You wouldn't trust a butcher to babysit your pet pig. You wouldn't trust a lumberjack to repair your antiques. Or a professional wrestler to be your massage therapist. So why would you trust anyone but AMCO to fix your car? For over 50 years, we've been the trusted experts in transmission repair.
Check out AMCO's multiple financing options, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow.
AA MCO.
I'm Salt Lake County Mayor Jenny Wilson. You deserve a county government that protects your tax dollars. That's why every budget passed while I've been mayor has been balanced and earned bipartisan support. We've even protected the county's elite AAA bond rating, which saves you money. As your county mayor, I'm trying to make things a little easier for you and your family. We've got more difficult choices ahead of us, but I promise I'll never stop fighting for Salt Lake County families. Go to wilsonformayor.com to learn more. Paid for by Wilson for Mayor.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And back to you, Mark.
Well, still emergency traffic eastbound on the 201. Still closed off at Redwood Road. All traffic being pushed off the freeway there. If you're headed eastbound, might be better to use 35th or I-80 until they get this cleared up. And we don't have a specific time when that will open up, but traffic's just been a mess on 215 and on Bangerter leading up to 201 as well. Another accident. This one has State Street closed at 5400 South. Eastbound I-80 at 2400 East, taking up the left lanes. That's back to 13th East. And on I-15, it's a mess around 4500 South, the left lane taken up, with traffic backing clear into the south end of the valley due to slower traffic through that area there. Revere Health encourages you to schedule your preventative care and annual checkups to help increase the potential to live your most healthy and active life. Revere Health, your partner in health, your partner in life. Mark Christiansen in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today will be another summer-like day with the highs around 84 degrees. Right now it's 64 downtown. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
We are continuing to follow the developing story, the fatal road rage shooting that Utah Highway Patrol confirmed was a fatal shooting to us at about the 7 o'clock hour this morning. We have Utah Highway Patrol Lieutenant Cameron Roden on the line with us right now. Good morning, Lieutenant. Are you with us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we
got
hear
you. Thank you so much. What can you tell us, and how are things going right now?
So we're in the early stages of the investigation still. This incident happened at about 5:20 this morning, eastbound on 201. We had two vehicles involved in this incident. It appears that there was, from our early investigation, like some type of a road rage incident that happened that escalated into a shooting. Out of that, there is one individual that is deceased, and the other individual is in custody working with law enforcement.
Does it appear that this shooting happened while they were driving, or was this a situation where they had perhaps pulled off to the side and had the altercation?
That is something that investigators are still working through at this point in time. The incident concluded right about 900 West, and so we do have both vehicles at the scene, and so that is what they're looking into, is exactly see how this all transpired as the situation unfolded.
Was there only one person in each car, or were there?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
As far as we know right now, one person in each vehicle. Nobody else involved that we're aware of.
Did it appear, as you're learning more, were there other vehicles? Was this a busy area? Were there other cars around, or was this? It sounds like it was pretty early in the morning when it happened.
We really don't have many reports of really very many other witnesses. So if there are others that saw this incident that can help us, that has information that may even have video or anything like that, we encourage them. Please contact the Utah Highway Patrol Dispatch Center. Any information would be appreciated.
Do you know where it began?
Initially, we think that this began around 2:15 on 201, but again, that is still under investigation to see exactly if this went back even further.
So not very far away, then, it appears, from where the actual shooting may have occurred.
Correct. It doesn't look like a real long stretch from when it initiated, but again, this is still early on that we may get more information that leads us further.
Has a weapon been recovered?
We have everything that we're aware of right now, but again, it is kind of a fluid situation where things are changing. It may change as we get more information.
Was there only one gun involved, or can you release any information? Was the other driver who was fatally shot? Did they brandish a weapon at all that you're aware of?
We don't know that quite yet. That is something that we're still looking into.
Are you looking into this at all as possible self-defense, or is this clearly a road rage incident where somebody might find themselves charged with homicide or murder?
We do want to investigate every option that there is. So looking at every angle to see if this could have been a road rage, could have been self-defense. So that's important for us to document the scene, and that's why the road closure is going to be a little bit longer as we document the scene and make sure we collect any evidence that pertains to this incident.
Is there any idea, or can you give us a timeline of when some of this area might free up as far as traffic?
We're thinking at least 2 more hours on this. Our best guesstimate would be 2 to 3 more hours.
So you have one person in custody. We know that you've confirmed that one person was fatally shot this morning at about 5:20 on eastbound 201 at about 9th West, and it may have, although you're investigating, started around the 201 at I-215. And I'm unclear as to whether you have any witnesses that have contacted dispatch to say, I saw something happen, or are you looking and asking for witnesses at this point, Lieutenant?
Right now we do believe we have one person that may have been able to help us get some information on this, but we're welcome to any information. If there are other witnesses that saw this incident, that is a time of morning where people are starting to head in to work and school and things. So there may have been others in the area. So if they did see anything there, we encourage them to contact the Utah Highway Patrol Dispatch.
Do we know if the victim or the two people involved, were they both male, female? Was there a mix?
At this point, I'm not really even aware of the individual's information. So as we get that information, we'll make that available.
And are you clear at all yet as to what may have ignited this situation? Like, what was the initial outrage that caused one driver to allegedly kill another this morning?
We haven't been able to identify that specifically yet, but that's one thing they're working on at this time.
I wanted to ask you as well, I know in another recent road rage homicide up in the Jordanelle area, the Wasatch County Sheriff's Office has come out, issued a public plea for any sort of video, whether people have, dash cam video or cameras fixated on their homes. And I guess in this area it would be that we're talking about this morning, it would be more businesses. Are you putting out that a similar plea, or are your troopers and your investigators knocking on doors this morning for any sort of video that might have captured anything?
Definitely. If anyone with the amount of cameras and stuff that there are nowadays, there's a good chance that a lot of times these incidences are captured on camera. So our investigators will be going around to the area to see if we can find any type of video footage. That really helps us to determine what happened. But with the number of cameras and vehicles now too, that can really help us out. So if individuals were traveling through the area at that time and have camera footage that they feel could be valuable to us, we encourage them to look at that and call us if they caught anything.
We're speaking with UHP Lieutenant Cameron Roden. We heard one report that said one of the vehicles had crashed. Do we know if the person that passed away was from the crash or from the gunshot?
So we haven't released that information quite yet. So as we get confirmation on things, we got to make sure that we document things appropriately. So they are still there on scene, working their way through that scene. So as we get to a stage where that becomes more available, we'll let you know for sure.
Lieutenant Roden, thank you for joining us from Utah Highway Patrol.
Thanks, Lieutenant.
Thank you.
We may be back in touch with you throughout the show today. In fact, I can guarantee that our producer will be reaching back out to you later on in the show. We also have KSL News Radio's Adam Small standing by with any new details that he is able to glean from the scene. He's been out there for the better part of the morning, reporting live for us here at KSL News Radio. And as well, Maria and her team looking into all the latest developments for our afternoon news at noon. And then, of course, Jeff Kaplan this afternoon at 3.
And just a reminder, if you are just joining us, Lieutenant Roden says you can still expect another 2 or 3 hours for this investigation to continue before they open things up on eastbound 201.
Yeah, eastbound 201 at 9th West. However, as we get over to our traffic center throughout the morning here, Andy Farnsworth and the team keeping an eye on things out there. The backup was significant. It started very early this morning because they have simply just shut down the freeway for that ongoing investigation of what Utah Highway Patrol is referring to as a fatal road rage shooting that, as we just heard, happened at about 5:20 this morning. Straight ahead, it feels like we have been enduring a lot of road rage shootings and incidents all over Utah. And we are not alone. Dave found a report that says there's been nearly a 450% jump in road rage shooting incidents in the last decade. He's going to go in depth on that and what he found out next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and Debbie go out of their way to make sure you hear all sides of a story.
They're working the phones to get several viewpoints on for you.
Hi, it's Tim and Amanda. We get you the full story, too.
We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Introducing Peach Doors and Windows. Are you ready to upgrade your home with stunning new doors but are overwhelmed with how to begin? Peach Doors is here to make the entire process smooth and stress-free. Visit their showroom to see their wide selection of wood doors, durable fiberglass, energy-efficient aluminum, oversized glass bifold doors, and so much more. It's not just about looks, it's about durability and security to protect what matters most. Let them help you find the perfect match for your home, budget, and personal style. Visit their showroom and see for yourself. No pushy sales tactics, only guidance from their experienced staff. No inflated markups just to offer so-called discounts. See their 5-star reviews where customers rate them on their attention to detail through every step of the sale and installation process. Amazing home transformations begin with windows and doors. Serving Logan to St. George, just Google Peach Building to see for yourself.
At KSL News Radio, we have a 30-year legacy of honoring Utah teachers, but we can't do it without your help. Please tell us about an important teacher in your life on the KSL Teacher Tribute Wall, presented by Cypress Credit Union. Each month, one lucky teacher wins a $500 gift card from Cypress Credit Union, a $250 gift card to Harmon's, plus season tickets to Hale Center Theater. Say thanks to your teacher today at kslnewsradio.com/teacher from Cypress Credit Union and KSL News Radio.
Life can feel hard or overwhelming sometimes, but you don't have to face things alone. Getting help for yourself or someone you're worried about starts with a call or text to 988, where you always have someone to talk to, someone to help you, and somewhere safe to go. 988 Utah is here for anyone experiencing mental health challenges or emotional distress. 988 Utah can even help you navigate how to support your struggling loved ones. Whether you're struggling with anxiety, depression, or suicidal thoughts, trained professionals are ready to listen and provide free, confidential support 24/7. Utah, Don't hesitate to call or text 988 for you or someone you care about. The caring staff at 988 Utah can connect you to the right resources. Learn more at 988.utah.gov. Fall is a great time to start your lawn replacement project. Get approved now. Remove your grass this fall. Plant next spring and get paid. Learn more at utahwatersavers.com.
I'm Utah Tax Attorney Jordan Wilcox. Listen to what actual clients have had to say about working with us.
Hi, I'm Gary. I'm a building contractor. About a year prior to the market crashing, we had a big job that was unable to pay a bill of about 6 figures. We were still left with a very difficult situation with the IRS. Eventually, at the end of the day, I realized that the penalties and interest were growing faster than my ability to save to deal with it. I had talked to people and I felt that Jordan Wilcox represented best what I thought could help me, primarily because they were local. And I needed a bigger solution than I was coming up with. It takes too long to figure it out on your own.
Hi, I'm Jordan Wilcox. You need a tax attorney that's not afraid to fight for you. Visit taxhelput.com to schedule your free consultation.
I would recommend Jordan Wilcox. It feels very good to not have the IRS on your back.
That's taxhelput.com.
Exciting news! Master Electrical Services has joined Mountain Home Services.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Emergency traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Our biggest problem this morning, 201 remains closed at Redwood Road. They're diverting all traffic off there due to that investigation about 9th West or so. Still heavy delays as you're approaching the Bangerter Highway and 215. I would say bail and use I-80 or 35th South to go east or west through that area, eastbound through that area mainly. It's going to be a little while longer before they get that opened up. A couple other areas, 45th South, I-15 northbound. There's an accident taking up the left lane there, and traffic is back past the south interchange. Eastbound I-80 at about 2300 East also. I'm Mark Christiansen in the KSL Traffic Center.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Amanda Dixon. First, we are 1 month away from the presidential election, and the deadline to register for mail-in voting is coming up on the 25th. Second, Salt Lake police arrested an 18-year-old near the airport over the weekend accused of illegal street racing. Police tell us they've seen a 54% increase in street racing compared to last year. Third, Hurricane Milton is now a Category 4 storm and is headed straight for Florida. Right now it's 64 degrees in Salt Lake City. Back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
I am watching a live stream right now on Facebook. Are we carrying it on KSL News Radio's Facebook page? Can somebody check for me there in the control room? I'm seeing it on KSL 5 TV's Facebook page. That it looks like Lieutenant Cameron Roden of the Utah Highway Patrol, who just got off the phone with us moments ago, is now providing live updates to the media on scene on eastbound 201. We're going to see if we can take you there live in just a moment. Just in case there's any details that we missed during our live conversation with him. But he did give us a lot more information than we've had all morning long, that this incident started at about 5:20 this morning. It probably began, they believe, at about I-215 eastbound on the 201 and then ended at 900 West.
Well, we really don't have many reports of really very many other witnesses. So if there are others that saw this incident that can help us, that has information that may even have video or anything like that, we encourage them. Please contact the Utah Highway Patrol Dispatch Center. Any information would be appreciated.
That was Lieutenant Cameron Roden, and I am watching this live on Facebook right now from KSL News Radio, and he is saying exactly what he just told us, very similar to the details. I'm not seeing anything new coming from this.
We're going to dip
conference.
into it live just for a few moments. Let's take it there live.
As far as road rage is concerned, this has been something that's been on our radar for quite some time. We've had a lot of incidents over the last couple of years where we've had incidents that have even escalated to shooting incidents. So that's what also helped us to look at how big of a road rage situation Utah has. And they passed legislation at the beginning of this year that helps us to start to collect that data and analyze that data. And so that law went into effect in July. Since July, UHP has investigated over 40 instances of road rage. Of course, not all of those instances are going to be as severe as this one. They may be a lot more minor. But we're hoping that this new law helps to give law enforcement a tool to help us to counteract road rage and get people to think twice about any type of road rage situation. That not only is it dangerous for all the parties involved, but the ramifications that can happen from road rage are severe.
Is it concerning to you that we're seeing it so often over the last month or so?
For sure. Anytime road rage it happens on our freeway is a concern for us. We want to make sure that people maintain control of their emotions, that we help get people to and from, and that people can travel on our roadways here in Utah safely. Since the law went into effect, we had 20 instances in July of road rage that UHP handled. We had 10 instances in August and 11 in September.
And then, of course, this morning's road rage incident that's been alleged as road rage by the Utah Highway Patrol involving a fatal shooting of one driver. Another driver is in custody.
Utah Senator Todd Weiler joins us right now. And I think initially when I was thinking and learning about this new law that was passed, I thought about the punishments. But Lieutenant Roden was just talking about the data collection. Can you speak to that, Senator?
Yeah, so when the legislature started looking at this issue last year, we found out there was no good data because, if you were involved in a road rage incident like 3 or 4 years ago, you might have been cited for, speeding or improper lane usage or failure to signal or disorderly conduct. But nobody had a box to check for road rage. And so, we kept on getting questions from the media saying, hey, have road rage incidents increased? And I kept on saying, well, it feels like they've increased, but we don't have anything to compare it to. And I've always been wondering, is it like a Shark Week effect? If you see all these shows about shark attacks, maybe you're worried about shark attacks, but the reality is that shark attacks don't increase in June just because, the TV coverage does.
And so you helped initiate this new law that took effect just a couple of months ago. I know that in your heart, what you want this to be able to do is deter road rage, yet here we are reporting on another fatal shooting on one of our freeways this morning where somebody is not going home to their family. Do you think the law needs more teeth?
Debbie.
I know. It's terrible. It just makes me sick. I had a feeling that's what this was this morning, Todd, when I got the alert on my cell phone before I left the house, because it is so unusual at 5:30, 5:20 in the morning for something to shut down the freeway as abruptly as it did. And I worried, of course, the number of scenarios went through my head. And this is worst case scenario.
Yeah, and I actually drove right through this area twice on Saturday myself, and I live up in Bountiful. But I worked with Representative Paul Cutler, and he really took the lead on a lot of these issues. But an important piece of the new legislation is it's going to provide funding for a public education campaign. And what we found when it comes to water usage and so many other things, if Utahns are reminded or educated, they usually respond in a big way. But we cannot legislate good behavior. We can't force people to do what's right just by passing a bill.
Senator Todd Weiler, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Todd. Appreciate your diligence on this issue. And Dave, you were looking up, and we'll get more into this in the 10 and the 11 o'clock hour, but you were starting to do a lot of research on road rage shooting incidents across the nation. Just give us an idea, a taste of what you found.
Number one, in the last decade, shooting, not just road rage incidents in general, just shooting incidents in the last decade have gone up 450%. 450% in the last decade.
Let's go back to the scene right now where I understand Utah Highway Patrol Lieutenant Cameron Roden may be addressing the suspect that was taken into custody this morning.
Of course, we're still documenting any potential evidence in the scene. Okay. Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, we apparently just barely missed that part of the news conference there. He was literally standing, it looked like, in the middle of the freeway there, which has been closed down since very early this morning. It will remain closed while this fatal shooting is under investigation. Let's plan on going back live to Adam Small of Utah's Morning News, of KSL News Radio. He's been our reporter on the scene all morning long. That'll be in the 10 o'clock hour.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Britt Johnson. The road is still closed because of a shooting on the 21st South Freeway near 900 West. It's believed to be a road rage shooting. One person is dead. They do have a suspect in custody. There is no ETA of when the highway will be opened. Cameron Roden with UHP says this is the 20th road rage incident since July. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Hurricane Milton is now a Category 4 storm. Florida is preparing for evacuation, with Milton's landfall expected sometime in the middle of this week. One particular concern is debris left over from Hurricane Helene.
People here still need help. These streets are lined with debris, pile after pile as far as the eye can see, but they can't even stay in the shells of what's left of their home because they have to evacuate. Another landfalling major hurricane possible here by this Wednesday night.
ABC News Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z reporting from Reddington Shores, Florida. Your money at this moment in the red. The Dow down 219 points. The S&P has lost 19 points. And the NASDAQ is off 64 points. Coming up, we'll take a look at the forecast. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
You know what's great about KSL's traffic coverage? Trained traffic reporters and real listeners.
Trading information and making the commute safer and faster for everyone.
Every 10 minutes on the nines, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. I've got to tell you about my experience at Hale Center Theater, one of the opening nights for The Magician's Elephant. Now, I knew it was going to be a U.S. premiere. I knew this was going to be something brand new, but I wasn't quite prepared for just how charming this play indeed is. It's all about a young orphan boy who promised his dying mother that he would keep an eye on and watch out for his little sister, but where is she? Only the Magician's Elephant knows. You're going to love The Magician's Elephant. And I'll tell you, I'm used to spectacular things unfolding on the stage, but there is the exit of a major character that is simply magical, almost molecular. One of the most amazing things I've ever seen on a Hale Center Theater stage, and boy, that is saying something. Don't forget, we also have The Addams Family, still to come, Beauty and the Beast. Get your tickets now for A Christmas Carol. Go to hct.org.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America, N.A.
I don't feel so good.
You do feel hot. Dayquil Kids will take care of that fever.
What about my cough?
Dayquil Kids has that covered.
Will it make my throat feel better?
Yes, that too.
But will it taste good?
Yep, Dayquil Kids comes in your favorite flavor.
Purple?
Well, yes, it's great.
Try new DayQuil Kids Plus Fever, the daytime coughing, aching, sore throat fever just for kids medicine. Safe for kids 6+. Use as directed.
It's official. KSL Sports is your official radio home of the Utah Hockey Club. When the puck hits the ice this fall, you'll hear every goal, every check, and every tension-filled moment on the KSL Sports Zone. Join us to celebrate the home opener at Delta Center on October 8th. Your exclusive home of the NHL and the Utah Hockey Club in Utah is KSL Sports in 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The KSL News Radio Movie Show comes to My Hearing Centers this Friday from 10 to 1. But first, discover what My Hearing Centers can do for you. My Hearing Centers uses advanced technology to diagnose and treat hearing loss. These comprehensive evaluations determine the best treatment options. Then enjoy lifetime support with regular check-ins, cleaning, and maintenance. Call My Hearing Centers at 801-701-1629. 801-701-1629 for more details. My Hearing Centers has offices from Ogden to St. George.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Mark Christiansen.
Emergency traffic still underway eastbound 201 due to that closure at 9th West for the investigation. Traffic's still tough. You're going to be in the back end of that slowdown. Approaching Bangerter Highway, I would think that the best bet would be to jump off Bangerter and use Bangerter over to 35th and then go eastbound there up to 215. It looks like traffic is just coming into the back end of that very slow, and it will remain that way until they get this opened up. A couple of other spots in the valley causing problems. That accident eastbound I-80 at about 2300 East. That has traffic back to 13th, and they're just barely pulling away and opening up the left lane of traffic. Northbound I-15 at 4500 South. However, that traffic backed up clear back into Midvale about 80th South or so. You'll start to get to the back end of that slowdown. Mark Christiansen in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, a high of 84 degrees today with sunny skies. Temperatures will remain 10 to 15 degrees above the normal for October, along with minimal rain chances. The next best chance for a storm wouldn't be until next Sunday. Right now it's 66 degrees and sunny. I'm Britt Johnson from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
For so many Utah families and American families, money is extremely tight. Inflation has felt like an ongoing gotcha. And then when it comes to family members and friends asking you to lend them a hand in the form of a loan, there are some definite possibilities that this could ruin relationships. We're going to get live with a money expert in just a moment about how to handle the ask.
What stood out to me is that more than half of people have lent money with the expectation that they would be paid back. Now, sometimes that's a very big thing. Maybe it's I just paid for group's lunch and then everyone was going to Venmo me. But more than half of people have had a negative experience afterwards because they thought they'd be paid back, and then they get stuck eating either the whole bill or at least a part of it.
Well, loaning money to people at a restaurant where maybe you can request them to Venmo money back is going to be a lot different than when a family member comes to you and says, can you lend me $5,000? And how about I wink, wink, nod, nod, go on a payment plan, and then they never see through on that payment plan. Ted Rossman, he's our money expert from Bankrate. Bankrate looked into this. They found that a ton of people lend money with the expectation of getting paid back, and they've had a very negative experience afterwards. Can you get into details?
That's right. Half of us have lent money with the expectation of being paid back. 55% of them have had something bad happen at least once. To be fair, it's not every time, but at least once, and sometimes it only takes once. I mean, if you end up losing a lot of money on one of these transactions, 42% say they lost money, 24% say it harmed the relationship, 9% say it damaged their credit score. There can be some definite consequences here.
So, Ted, is there a way to do it, or is this one of those avoid at all costs lending money?
First of all, I would remind people about that saying on the airplane about putting your oxygen mask on before helping others. The same thing pertains to lending to family and friends. You want to make sure that you're not jeopardizing your own financial security. You think about maybe parents who could deplete some of their retirement funds lending to adult children, and then that can come full circle and be awkward for everybody if the parents run out of money. There's also the school of thought that says treat it like a gift, not a loan, because it is awkward to sit down to Thanksgiving dinner, let's say, with somebody who owes you money, and it can really get in the way of family relationships and friendships. It's maybe not quite as cut and dry as saying just don't do it, but if you want to do it, go in with eyes wide open that you might not see the money again. And I think you have to be okay with that. I mean, it actually troubles me that so many relationships are being harmed over this.
We're speaking live right now with Ted Rossman of Bankrate. We're talking about loaning money and the difficulties people who loan money find themselves in with friends and family after maybe the money doesn't get paid back. I think there can also be the tendency, if you loan it, even if you come up with a signed payment plan, of resentment if somebody misses payments, Ted, yet they pull up to Thanksgiving dinner in a brand new Mercedes. You know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying there?
Oh, completely. Yeah. Even if you have a signed contract, you're probably not going to enforce it to the extent that you're probably not going to take your friend or family member to court. Now, the one thing that a signed contract can do is at least make the intentions clear. I still think you could get stiffed over it, but at least then it's clear. Sometimes you hear from people, oh, wait, you were expecting that money back? I mean, yeah, I was. You can be very clear with the other people, but I tend to think there's a point of diminishing returns, too. I mean, like in that classic example of you pay for a restaurant meal or part of a group trip and you want people to pay you back, it's better to get that sooner rather than later. Maybe even try to get it right then and there at the table. Have people Venmo before you leave, because the more time passes, the less likely you are to get it back. And that happens pretty quickly. I mean, even a couple of days, it could be out of sight, out of mind.
And when people maybe stiff you on the tab, or maybe we're splitting gas on a trip, whatever it might be, what are some of the downsides? Besides just losing money, I would imagine, maybe a credit score or something could get involved as well.
Yeah, credit scores can be damaged. That happened to about 10% of our respondents. About a quarter had the relationship damaged. The most common, at more than 4 in 10, was losing money. And that's especially difficult now with everybody wrestling with higher prices and higher interest rates. And sometimes people like collecting credit card rewards, but it really only takes one person to not pay you back to lose all the rewards and then some. I mean, you think about splitting the cost of a restaurant meal, especially if you're carrying credit card debt, then you're adding interest on top of it. It's one of these things where you have to really tread carefully. It's often better to say no and just to help in other ways. I mean, sure, you want to be empathetic if your friend or family member is struggling and needs some money. Maybe you help and you treat it like a gift, or you're okay with not getting the money back. Or maybe you try to help in a different way. Maybe there are some connections you can offer or advice, or in the case of parents and adult children, maybe the kid moves in with you for a while, as opposed to paying thousands of dollars a month for them to rent their own place. Sometimes you need to know when to cut the cord and when to practice tough love.
Ted Rossman, thank you so much for joining us from Bankrate. And those were some great tips. I think offering alternatives, and this was, as I was reading through this article from Bankrate, Debbie, instead of just giving money, and that's the easy one to do, could you offer that advice? Can you help them understand, there's some extra money out there to be made, a side hustle. If they're really struggling, say, okay, well, if we're going to try to find you maybe a higher paying job, what's the path to a higher paying job? Maybe that's education and resources, whatever it might be. But I think helping, especially when it comes to family and friends, if you're close enough to be asked for money, then you're close enough to offer advice and have a conversation.
What about the loaning of money? What is your appetite to loan somebody? Like, let's say somebody, I want to set aside nobody pays you back for the $20 meal and you're stuck with a $150 tab. I mean, that stinks. And then you don't go out to dinner with those friends and family members again for like a lifetime. Okay. But when somebody comes to you and says, I'm in serious, medical debt, I've got massive amounts of credit card debt, I need $5,000. Could you please?
Okay, so this is very easy to say no if you don't have the money. If you do have the money and you can help without hurting yourself, that's where I think it becomes more difficult to say no, because you're thinking, I probably could afford it.
So
I probably could help out.
So your dilemma is your bank account balance?
Yes. Oh, for sure. If I can help, and I think most of us are in this situation, if I can help, I will help. If I can help, then I'm like, sorry, I don't have $5,000. I can't help you. Oh, I totally would if I could. But it's when you have the resources, and that's where it gets difficult. Now, I think it's very easy to say no.
Yeah, there's that word.
Yeah.
It's a full sentence.
And it's great.
A complete sentence. No.
And totally.
I've said no.
Yeah.
I've said no, and I've also said yes. And anytime I've said yes, it is with the understanding that I will never be paid back.
So that's just a gift.
It's a gift.
Yeah, that
I'm
doesn't
out the
count.
money.
See, I don't count a gift.
Well, I do. It's still money I'm out if I'm out $5,000.
But we're talking about a loan. Okay, a gift is a gift. Well, what I want to know, and this is where I think I'd like to hear from our listeners right now. Is there a way to truly lend money and get paid back? Have you figured it out? Have you hacked it? Because I know, Deb,
I've tried that before. It doesn't work out well.
It doesn't work out well.
No, I've tried it all the ways. That's what I'm trying to say is, I've loaned money in a sense where somebody has destroyed something that belonged to us and they were paying us back a little bit at a time. That was really, really a tough situation. Really a tough, unless you want to go park outside somebody's house every Friday night when they get paid, it is a really tough situation. That's why I'm at the point in my life where I'm just like, look, if I'm going to give you the money because you've asked me for a loan, or if you've asked me for a loan, I'm just going to give you the money. But what you're saying is you want some sort of a signed deal then.
Yes, I want to know. 801-575-TALK. How do you do it? How do you lend money to friends and families? Because I do believe if you're struggling, if you need money, if you're in financial dire straits, family and friends should be the first stop. But how do we do it in a way that both sides win? Instead of it just being a win-lose proposition, is there a win-win scenario? Have you figured it out? How do you do it? Let us know. 801-575-TALK. How do you lend money and not ruin the relationship?
Dave and Dujanovic.
Current events can have a lot of moving parts. Our job is to make it easy to keep up.
You're part of a bigger world, so spend 15 or 20 minutes here and be part of it.
Join us weekday mornings between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
With Master Electrical, you've known them since the 50s. I mean, they've been around forever. They are excellent. But now they've joined forces with Mountain Home Services. So there's some one-stop shopping now, not just for your electrical needs, but your HVAC, your plumbing, you name it, they can take care of it.
Yeah, that's what's great about this team effort now. You got Master Electrical that can install that new EV charger. They can help you with that new generator, combined with the expertise of Mountain Home Services. And like Dave said, that HVAC, heating and air, plumbing. Now add fireplaces to the mix.
And it's not just brand new fireplaces. They will do tune-ups. They will service it. In fact, my mom just texted me and said, hey, I had them come out. I had no idea she did this. I'm like, geez, Mom, I could have hooked you up. I could have helped you out and coordinated things. No, she just called them like you guys do. Called them, had them come out and service her fireplace. And she said it's like brand new. The flame's bigger. It's better. It looks fantastic. So fireplaces, you can put that on the list as well with Mountain Home Services.
Yeah,
Mountain Home Services.
Yeah, so easy to find them at mountainhomeutah.com. That's mountainhomeutah.com.
Or 801-543-2222. That's 801-543-2222.
The election is less than a month away.
We've accomplished so much together.
You deserve better. And if you're feeling less than informed on local races, get booted up on the candidates. Local races, state races, and national votes that matter to you. Listen all this week in the car. Your Voice, Your Vote 2024 on KSL News Radio.
God called Joseph Smith in the Sacred Grove. God called Brigham Young in a second grove in 1844. Joseph was martyred. Enemies hoped the church would die too. There was talk of multiple successors. Nauvoo was in chaos. But God made his will known during a conference with hundreds of saints witnessing. 6 days in August. Film opens Thursday, but Cinemark is offering sneak peeks tonight. Take your family tonight. Learn more about Brigham Young. Hurry. Limited tickets at 6daysinAugust.com.
IVC is celebrating 20 years providing quality service in Utah. You've probably heard their saying by now, life starts when the pain stops. IVC is the most trusted interventional and vein center in the state, and they've been voted Best of Utah Valley 10 years running. The 7 physicians at IVC provide state-of-the-art, comprehensive vein care with many years of experience. The team at IVC takes the time to get to know you and your veins so you're comfortable with the right diagnosis and the right treatment. Patients are like family at IVC. You've also heard many radio ads over the years with real people describing how IVC has dramatically improved their quality of life by eliminating the pain and discomfort caused by varicose veins. Well, what are you waiting for? Don't let vein disease slow you down even one more day, because life starts when the pain stops. Visit ivein.com today to set up a free screening. That's ivein.com.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
For over 22 years, speaking on business on KSL News Radio has been a beloved tradition, celebrating our heroic business leaders and Utah consumers who have helped build one of the strongest state economies in the nation. Now, under the stewardship of the Salt Lake Chamber and hosted by Chamber President and CEO Derek Miller, the program continues to shine a spotlight on those who make Utah's business environment dynamic and thriving. With his expertise and passion, Derek brings the stories of our business community to life. As part of the Salt Lake Chamber, Speaking on Business is proud to continue its legacy of highlighting inspiring stories, trends, and special guests. Support Utah businesses now and be part of Utah's thriving economy. More information can be found at slchamber.com. That's slchamber.com.
Emergency traffic brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. This eastbound on 201 remains closed at 9th West due to the investigation of that earlier shooting. Now, traffic's still backed up. If you come up to about the Bangalore Highway interchange, you'll see the back end of that slow traffic, and it's not moving very quickly from that point. They'll put you off at Redwood Road, if not 215 prior to that. Give that a couple more hours before that clears up. I'd use 35th South as an alternative, or I-80 also. On I-80 in Sugar House, there's a dump truck blocking one of the left lanes, and that has traffic now backing up clear back to about 7th East as you make your way eastbound. Mark Christiansen in the KSL Traffic Center.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Britt Johnson. First, the road is still closed because of a road rage shooting on the 21st South Freeway near 900 West. Second, Hurricane Milton is now a Category 4 storm. Florida is preparing for evacuations amid debris left over from Hurricane Helene. Third, the Yellow Lake fire has grown to over 15,000 acres, making it the largest wildfire in the state. Right now it's 66 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Right on the money. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
Well, it seems when it comes to loaning money to friends and family, a lot of our listeners want to share their take. We're lighting up the phone lines this morning at 801-575-TALK with a question that Dave has. Is there a way to loan money to friends and family and not ruin relationships?
There's got to be a way to do it, because if you're struggling, then the first person you should turn to is a family member or a friend, right? That's what we're here for. We're here to support. Now, I'm convinced there's got to be a way to do it and not ruin relationships. I just don't know how to do it.
But a bank rate study found that a lot of relationships do get ruined. And in fact, it's a pretty high percentage. I think it's nearly like 40% of those who have been, 28% say it has harmed the relationship with the person. 801-575-TALK. Have you figured out a way? Have you figured out a fix to loaning money?
Let's start off with Chris in Centerville. Chris, what do you think?
So I'm going to just share an actual experience that I've had, and this is as the borrower.
Okay.
Prior to being able to serve a mission, I needed to pay off my credit card debt. That's kind of one of the standard things they don't want you to have. You got it hanging over your head while you're serving. I made an arrangement with my grandfather. He paid down he gave me the money to pay off the remaining about $3,000 that I had in debt. And we actually signed a contract that any of that I did not pay back to him comes out of my inheritance.
That's got to be a long way off, I would hope, right, Grandpa?
Actually, I'm literally on my way to his funeral right now.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Chris. I'm so sorry. Did you get it paid back?
This felt like a message I actually really wanted to share about when I heard this.
Yeah. Well, thank you so
much.
much.
He was a great man. I have had a great relationship with him since.
Well, and he was able to help you.
It was because we laid out, he helped me, we laid out the repayment terms and signed a literal contract. And, again, it had the fallback condition of, and I really haven't been able to pay back about half of that. And so it's like, I fully expect that I'm not going to get as much as my siblings and cousins when all is settled out, because that was literally how he had laid it out.
That was the agreement.
So it's like we knew what the terms would be, what the expectations were. And I think that was what made a big difference in how that happened.
And what I love
bless
about
your
that,
Grandpa there, Chris. Thanks so much for the call.
what I love about that, Chris, is that you're fine with that. That was the expectation. You expect to have a smaller inheritance because it's not paid back. I love that he held you to it and that you respect it, and you're living up to it on your end as well. Jeff in Springville. Jeff, is there a way to lend money and not ruin a relationship?
Well, with me, I back when I first got married 33 years ago, my wife's brother was borrowing money quite often, and it was always a loan. And over about the course of 5 to 8 years, there's probably $8,000 to $10,000 loaned out, and never saw a dime of it. He did come out and helped do some landscaping and helped hang doors and things like that. But the last time he borrowed money to buy some tires to go back up to Montana, I wrote out a contract with him. I said, this is a loan. If you don't pay it back, then it's a gift. If you do pay it back, then you can continue borrowing money. If you don't, then this will be the last time I ever loan money to you. And I never did get paid back for that. And he understood what the parameters were, and so did I. And that was, 23 years ago. And we've been friends ever since. And he's never asked, and I've never loaned him money since then. And
I love
worked out well for me.
Yeah,
Jeff,
so
thank you.
It sounds like you're out about $10,000, though, Jeff. Total.
It was a gift.
It was a gift. It ends up being a gift. Okay. Diane from Ogden, have you figured out a fix to loaning money to friends and family?
Yes, I have. It turns into just a gift, like the last caller said. If just right up front, if you have the money and you're willing to, just go ahead and give it to them without any loan. If you set up a loan, it makes a slave out of one and a master out of the other, and it can just ruin relationships, make everybody uncomfortable. So if you have the money, just go ahead and give it. If it's the Dave Ramsey, his final step in the process is if you have it, give it away if you're in a position to do so.
Diane, thank you. And I've heard that before. I've heard that a gift is a great way to do it, remove the attachment to it. But I'd like to think that there's a win-win scenario. And I think there is if you can lend it and you put together a contract. That sounds like the best idea. You put together a contract. You say, I expect this to be paid back. If it doesn't, then listen, I'm going to go to collections, because so often money will ruin the relationship one way or the other.
So you're going to take it to a small claims court. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And I think you could do it without feeling guilty yourself, because it was an understanding at the very beginning. And you can tell folks, hey, listen, I'm going to give you a 6-month grace period, something that the bank wouldn't do. Or I'm going to give you a year grace period to pay me back. I'm going to work with you in a way that other lenders would not. But ultimately, I'm going to have to come for this. Now, if you understand that and you accept it and sign it, then great. Then this can be a win-win situation.
Hi, Trevor.
Hi. Well, to quote my dad, I don't make loans, and I've kind of adopted that too. And I've been the recipient of assistance from my father, and I've also given assistance to family members and friends and roommates. In my case, if they pay me back, great. But if not, I don't part with money unless I'm ready to part with it. I do have a revolving credit with my cousin, but we also have a lot of quid pro quo and back and forth, and we even had that back in high school for a while, where
with a cousin.
She would, what?
With a cousin.
Yeah, she would have I would pay for gas, or I would need money for gas, and we still have that sort of thing. I actually I jokingly refer to her as my piggy bank sometimes. But,
well, that's great. That sounds like a fun cousin relationship. We got to run, Trevor. So sorry, but thank you. I appreciate your calls and your comments. I don't give loans. Is that what Trevor's motto is? I don't give loans.
I don't give loans, but I do give gifts. That sounded to be the prevailing sentiment, that the only time you do it is if it is a gift, and if they pay you back, that is just gravy.
It's 10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Britt Johnson. KSL's top story this hour: traffic is still backed up and the road closed because of a road rage shooting this morning on the 21st South Freeway near 900 West. That left one person dead. Cameron Roden with UHP is on scene giving updates with the info that they have.
It does look like there was a crash that occurred.
They do have a suspect in custody. The Yellow Lake fire has grown to over 15,000 acres, making it the largest wildfire in the state. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit has more.
There are 459 firefighters using controlled burns to starve the blaze of potential fuel, and they're focused on making the fire more manageable, but evacuations are still in effect for the north and west forks of the Duchesne River, with the Grand Eddy Lakes region of the Ashley National Forest under ready-to-evacuate status.
Investigators have ruled the fire is human-caused. Your money at this moment: the Dow down 263 points. The S&P is also down 23 points. The NASDAQ is off 74 points. Coming up, it's a beautiful and warm day today. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:31.
We hope you have the right app on your phone for news. You probably have dozens.
But the KSL News Radio app, well, it makes our live stream super easy.
Plus, our talk shows are right there as podcast for your workday.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Winter is right around the corner. And when it arrives, you need to have a way to stay warm. What if you don't have any housing at all? A winter's night outside can be fatal. If you're in Utah County, there will soon be a new resource, the Utah County Warming Centers, opening October 15th. These are not shelters. They're places for adults experiencing homelessness to come in from the cold and stay alive. Community Action Services and Food Bank is organizing volunteers and blankets for the warming centers. They need your help. Reach out online at casfb.org for more details on how you can volunteer or donate. Other resources are also available for families with children or the elderly in Utah County too. Come in to Community Action Services and Food Bank to connect with those. Warmth on a winter's night is a basic life-sustaining need. Sign up to volunteer to the Utah County Warming Centers. Visit casfb.org today. Community Action Services and Food Bank.
At Macy's, we're proud to be local and support local. Carrying local products and produce is important to us. We are proud to support our local growers and bring peak freshness to you and your family. To make shopping local easier for you, we have added Utah Proud tags beneath local products. As you shop our stores, look out for the tags as you shop and show your pride for local Utah companies and growers. Thank you for shopping local yourself by shopping at Macy's. Macy's, happy shopping!
If you ordered a steak sandwich and they served you bologna, you'd be ticked off.
B-O-L-O-G-N-A or B-A-L-O-N-E-Y. It doesn't matter how you spell it. It's still bologna.
Hi, this is Jason.
And Kathy of Window World.
We could go on and on about Window World, but folks, it's all about you.
Your home and what you need.
Window World is America's #1 window replacement company.
Call Window World at 801-281-8111.
Or check windowworldutah.com. And as Doug always said, that's no baloney.
Last year's RV trip, we met a couple with the same bumper sticker. What are the odds?
Your cousin isn't a good storyteller.
He was a podiatrist, or was it a pharmacist?
You don't say.
Oh, I can't remember.
But she owns an RV protected by Progressive, and you don't. So until you get your own RV, her stories are the most interesting stories you've ever heard.
Wow, interesting.
And when you do get your own RV, save money by bundling it with your home, auto, or other vehicles with Progressive.
Oh, anesthesiologist. He was an anesthesiologist.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. We have emergency traffic. Here's Mark Christiansen.
201 remains closed at Redwood Road. So if you're headed east on 201, you will not be able to get past Redwood Road. They're getting everybody off the freeway at that point. Your best bet would be to use 215 or even Bangor right now over to 35th to go eastbound and then catch up a little bit later on I-15 that way. Or I-80 works very well. I-80's been very clear to the north there and making your way eastbound into the downtown area. The other problem is eastbound 80. Just about 2400 east, there was a stalled dump truck in the middle lanes. They've towed it off to the side. They're now cleaning up some oil in the lanes there. Traffic's back to about 7th East at the moment. Put the equity in your home to work with a home equity line of credit and get 6.49% APR for the first 6 months. Learn more at cypresscu.com. Mark Christiansen in the KSL Traffic Center.
Temperatures this entire week will reach the low to mid 80s, even getting to 86 on Thursday. This is well above average temperatures for this time of year, and we'll have sunny skies for the entire 7-day forecast. Right now it's 70 degrees and sunny. I'm Britt Johnson from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Dave and I have talked extensively over the last couple of months with state officials about air taxis and catching an air taxi, from a location and then being able to get out to perhaps the airport and bypass traffic. That's right. That is actually being talked about in Utah. So you might imagine our excitement and our curiosity when we caught a story on ABC News about air taxis that could be coming to a city near us that would cut our commute in half, Dave.
Which is kind of hilarious because when you think of drones, and that's essentially what these air taxis are, just oversized drones, they carry small little packages. They carry a camera. Can you imagine something being large enough that you would feel safe climbing into? And then would it be like a roller coaster ride? Or how smooth would this be?
And Toyota, apparently, Mike Dubusky from ABC News is live on the line. It's Toyota that's making a big investment in this. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's right. So within the last few days here, Toyota, obviously a huge global automaker, has invested nearly $500 million into a company called Joby Aviation. And this is not the first time that Toyota has interacted with this company. The two companies have worked together since 2018 to develop what are known as eVTOLs, or electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles. Basically a lot of words to describe flying cars, or flying taxis in this case. Over the last few years, since 2018, Toyota has invested nearly $900 million into this project. They are apparently forging this manufacturing alliance, is what they call it. So Toyota is going to make some of the componentry for these flying taxis, and then presumably they will get a share of the profits if and when these things eventually do take to the air as sort of a flying taxi service.
Mike, I'm looking at the Joby Aviation website right now. I was wondering if you could kind of describe for our listeners what these look like and what to expect.
Yeah, so Good Morning America, ABC's morning program, actually got an up-close look at these things last week. They were here in New York City in Grand Central Terminal, and they kind of look like a traditional helicopter from the body point of view, right? There's a little passenger compartment. Joby says you can fit 4 passengers, plus a pilot that will be a commercial pilot, because they're not going to obviously let you fly the aircraft yourself. But above the passenger compartment is where things start to change. Instead of a traditional one rotor that you would see in a normal helicopter, you see 6 rotors that are sort of positioned around the aircraft. And Joby says that's intentional. That allows this vehicle to be a lot more stable than a traditional helicopter, and it allows it to be a little bit quieter as well. In fact, they say 100 times quieter than a traditional helicopter. And here in New York, where you hear helicopters going overhead all the time in many urban centers, noise pollution from helicopters is a big concern. That is a pretty appealing piece of this, especially if they are going to be as common as Joby and Toyota and some major metropolitan areas want them to be.
We're speaking live with Mike Dubusky. He's the ABC News' technology reporter. He's live on the line because we caught wind, thanks to Good Morning America report about these flying taxis. Haven't quite made it here to Salt Lake City yet, but are we on the list, Mike? Do you have a list of cities that this will be going to first?
I don't have a specific list, but they do have some pretty big ambitions. They are expecting these to be approved by the FAA as soon as next year, and after that there will be a sort of wider scale rollout with some more details to come as to, exactly how this is going to work. Because on the one hand, guys, there's the technology side of things, right? It's nice to have these quiet sort of flying vehicles, and, you can see the appeal of going from, for example, downtown Manhattan to JFK Airport, which is pretty far away, a 49-minute trip in a taxi. You're shaving that down to 7 minutes in a flying vehicle like this. So you can see the appeal on the technical end of things, and it seems like Joby is kind of out in front of other competitors that are out there as well. There are some other flying taxi startups that have not, kind of reached this level yet. But there's also a really big logistical hurdle here, right? Like, for example, a few years ago, I got a chance to take a ride in an Uber copter, which is Uber's helicopter service that they operate here in New York City. That's kind of an appealing thought, right? Kind of the similar idea, albeit not an electric vehicle or an eVTOL like this. But, you have to get into a car and have that car go to the airport and then have a little safety demonstration. It's kind of like getting on a plane. And on top of that, it's quite expensive. It was $200 depending on traffic and time of day to fly in the Uber copter. Unclear exactly how much an eVTOL from a company like Joby would cost if it does take off. But the CEO of that company does tell ABC News that they are targeting a ride in a Joby aircraft air taxi to be equivalent to that of an Uber Black. So if you're hailing an Uber and it's a luxury vehicle, you're going to pay a little bit more. They do expect that price to come down over time. But the first step is the sort of regulatory hurdles that these companies need to get over, which they're just not quite there yet.
Mike Dubusky, ABC News technology reporter, is joining us right now as we're talking about these EV air taxis. I can't remember, what was the acronym you had for us?
eVTOL, yeah. Electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicle, which, again, a lot of words, but it's a flying vehicle. There are some We've been talking about the Joby, which kind of looks like a relative of a helicopter, but there's also a company called Alif, which makes or plans to make a vehicle that looks a little bit more like a traditional car. So there's several of these firms that are out there, and the FAA, is pretty optimistic that these are going to, start taking off, and you're going to start seeing them in major cities within the next year or so. But again, we should probably take that with a little bit of a grain of salt, just because, there's a lot of new exciting technology, but as we discussed, there are some price and logistical concerns there as well.
Have you seen any of these that don't require a pilot, but maybe are completely automated?
So that's certainly an idea. Interestingly enough, further afield outside of the startup sort of world, both Cadillac and Rolls-Royce have kind of demoed these completely autonomous flying taxis where you get in and you press a button and it takes you where you need to go. But those are pretty far afield from what we gather. They're kind of proofs of concept. They're just kind of like out there as, a tool to demonstrate that the companies are doing something interesting in the world of technology, both to the public and to investors as well. So that is a piece of this as well. But again, I think that would come after the more traditional, like, relative of a helicopter sort of vehicle that we're talking about here.
Mike, thank you for joining us. Mike Dubusky, ABC News technology reporter. And Debbie, here they've examined this. We've talked to UDOT about this, about the possibilities. Yeah. And where they do see this happening is launching it essentially during the 2028 Olympic Games in Los Angeles. They're hoping to have something in place that perhaps can act as a pilot program, perfectly named a pilot program for these EV, the helicopter plane hybrid taxi thing.
So would you hail an air taxi?
Oh, I would love to do this.
Not me.
I think it looks so fun. So cool.
Forget it.
Too expensive?
Not going to do it.
Or safety issue?
I'd rather walk to the airport. I would rather find a safe road and walk to the airport. I am all about technology, and I have flown in helicopters for news stories. I have flown in many airplanes. I have flown in planes that feel like when I'm getting on it, it's just too small to actually fly. I like flying, but I would take an Uber over an air taxi, like a ground Uber. How about you? Are you on Team Dave? Absolutely. Hail an air taxi, or Team Deb? No, thanks. I'm good. 801-575-TALK. Look forward to your live calls next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Here's a trick to podcasting at work and getting all the Utah news you love.
Download the KSL News Radio app.
The podcast for Utah's morning news and Dave and Debbie are right there. Dozens of podcasts a day.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Debbie, I was listening to some news reports this morning, and I just saw that here in America we've had 100,000 overdose deaths, which was so sobering, so hard to hear. It's why I'm happy to tell you guys about Renaissance Ranch, because if you have a family member, if you have a loved one that is struggling with addiction and you're trying to figure out how to help them, Renaissance Ranch has a way.
Yeah, Renaissance Ranch offers these really great free family support services through weekly online classes. And these are, I want you to understand this, these are open to the public. And like I said, they are free. And they talk about all kinds of different topics.
Yeah, and you can find the one that is perfect for you, which one applies to you. They have classes taught for spouses, for parents. They're told from a personal perspective. You'll even find a women's support group and a couples recovery group.
Yeah, they treat the entire family. They really do at Renaissance Ranch. They're faith-based and clinically proven for more than 20 years.
All you have to do is learn more about these free online classes at renaissanceranch.com. That's where you can sign up and join. Just go to renaissanceranch.com.
They say good things come to those who wait. But this October, better things come to those who act now. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and October is the best month to replace your old furnace and air conditioner if you're trying to beat the winter rush. You see, we've structured our pre-season savings so that the sooner you buy, the more you save. Through the end of October, when you have Any Hour Services install your new furnace and air conditioner, you'll save $2,500 off any new system you choose. And that doesn't even factor in the rebates and incentives you might qualify for. All you have to do to get this deal is get a hold of Any Hour Services before the end of October and schedule a free estimate. After we show you what options are available, pick the system that best meets your needs, and we'll take $2,500 off. If you wait until November to call, you'll still save, but not as much. So if you want to save $2,500 off a new furnace and air conditioner, you need to call Any Hour Services before the end of October and schedule a free estimate. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Xfinity here. How can we help?
Hi, my daughter invited her entire class to her birthday party. Can my Wi-Fi handle it?
Oh, well, at Xfinity, our latest gateways have tri-band Wi-Fi technology, letting you connect hundreds of devices at once.
No way. So if all the kids are watching stuff on their phones, well, their parents are sharing videos online.
Yep, go ahead and watch videos. They can all do their thing and party their way. No problem.
Oh, we are gonna need a bigger cake.
Now through October 10th, get fast, reliable Xfinity Gig Internet for $25 a month for 2 years when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data. And get Peacock Premium, a $7.99 a month value included at no extra cost. And ask how to get an eligible free 5G phone with trade-in. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY or visit a store today. Xfinity, bring on the good stuff. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless plan and auto-pay stored bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Gig Wi-Fi requires Xfinity Gateway. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. After promo, regular internet rates apply. Actual speeds vary.
You do countless things without a second thought to protect your family and home. Every time you're in the car, you buckle your seatbelt. Before the next load of laundry, you remove the dryer lint. When you head out, you always lock your doors. And one simple task, done far less often, can protect your family and home this winter. Schedule a furnace inspection by a certified heating contractor to check for safety and efficiency. A friendly reminder from Enbridge Gas.
Advanced Window Products. $2,500 off 10 windows or more. AdvancedWindows.com. Affordable windows. Guaranteed.
At Common Spirit Health, we know that lifelong health and well-being starts with primary care. So we have doctors and providers who see you, hear you, know you, and understand you. Because understanding you means understanding your needs. And that leads to a deeper knowledge of the prevention, wellness, and treatment options that may be best for you. It's primary care that treats your whole family like family. It's primary care with human kindness. Discover all the ways you can find and connect with a primary care provider at mountain.commonspirit.org.
Emergency traffic brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. 201 remains closed at Redwood Road due to that earlier incident at 9th West that they're still investigating. The freeway will not be available to go to I-15. You will be pushed off at Redwood Road. I'm looking at the cameras now, and I can see the back end of the slowdown, about 3200 West. Your best bet, take 215, go south a little bit. 35th will work as an alternate, and I-80 will work as an alternate too. But in the meantime, 201 eastbound closed at Redwood Road. Mark Christiansen in the KSL Traffic Center.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Britt Johnson. First, traffic is still backed up and the road closed because of a road rage shooting this morning on the 21st South Freeway near 900 West that left one person dead. Second, the Yellow Lake fire has grown to over 15,000 acres, making it the largest wildfire in the state. Third, federal investigators are investigating a Frontier Airlines flight that caught fire in the air over the weekend. Right now it's 70 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. Back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dujanovic.
Always appreciate hearing from ABC News' technology reporter Mike Dubusky because he brings us these really fascinating stories like he did just moments ago, talking about these flying taxis that are in the works with the support, the financial backing of a car company you know very well, Toyota. Joby Aviation is developing technology for air taxis. I appreciate the advancements in technology to take taxis from the road to the sky, but I'm saying don't count me as one of the first customers in line. Dave, on the other hand?
Load me up. Load me up, friends.
You go.
Squeeze me in.
Are you worried about the price?
Of course. You don't want to just make it a one and done kind of thing, right? Where you just go and have an adventure.
Oh, like an experience.
Yeah, if it's an experience, I will sign up.
For my birthday, I want to take an air taxi to the 100%. Airport. Okay, I get it. I hear you.
I think that would be fun, a unique experience. But if you're really talking about this being a possible future, listen, I don't want the entire sky filled with these sky taxis, right? I don't want to see them every time I try to see some blue sky up there. I'm like, oh, there's another one. There's 500 of them in the sky. I'm not interested in the Jetsons that way. But I do think if you're in a hurry, if you don't want to fight traffic, if you have to travel during rush hour, then if it's reasonable or even in the ballpark of being reasonable, sign me up.
So we just spoke moments ago to Mike Dubusky, but we also have been watching this story from ABC News' Good Morning America. Trevor Alt was actually standing beside one when we reported about these, and they do look like what do you think? Propelled type of airplanes with a mix of helicopter.
We're just at the dawning moments of a transportation revolution, which is going to take us into the skies for our daily mobility.
This is the electric air taxi from Joby, designed with commuting in mind. The plan is for customers to be able to book one the same way you'd book an Uber, skip the traffic, and fly. What would be a 49-minute taxi ride from Manhattan to JFK Airport, instead just 7 minutes.
And this thing it's a hybrid between a helicopter and a plane. It's got fixed wings, it's got 6 propellers on it, and the propellers actually tilt. So they'll be horizontal just like a helicopter. It'll lift you up, and then they will tilt almost like a propellered aircraft, a plane, so that'll propel you forward. That gives you a smoother ride. So how do you feel about it? Who's on the line?
Jake, hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. You on Team Deb on this one? There's no way you're going to board one of these, or are you Team Dave? Load them up.
I'm in the middle because I've got a question, and this is probably a good question for Mike Dubusky, because it's related to cost. Because if we were to look at this situation, like, why do we not have supersonic jets now like we did 20 years ago? It's because it was too expensive. We tried it, and because of the cost, we can no longer do it. And we spent thousands of dollars on the seat then, but now we're being asked to spend hundreds of dollars just to go 16 miles. If we don't want to repeat history, the question I have is how is this not going to be the same situation if we don't decrease the cost?
It's a great point, and you're absolutely right. The Concorde jet, when you're spending thousands of dollars for the jet, sure, it's great, it's fun to fly fast, but at some point, it has to appeal to more than just the super uber rich, and that's where they've got to figure out how to bring down costs.
So Mike told us, explain what they look like, said they're quieter than a traditional helicopter. Will fit 4 plus a pilot. That was a plus for me. There's going to be a human pilot in this Joby Aviation craft. And 6 rotors. That thing does look pretty Jetson-y to me.
And they kind of look like a traditional helicopter from the body point of view, right? There's a little passenger compartment. Joby says you can fit 4 passengers plus a pilot that will be a commercial pilot because they're not going to obviously let you fly the aircraft yourself. But above the passenger compartment is where things start to change. Instead of a traditional 1 rotor that you would see in a normal helicopter, you see 6 rotors that are sort of positioned around the aircraft. And Joby says that's intentional. That allows this vehicle to be a lot more stable than a traditional helicopter, and it allows it to be a little bit quieter as well. In fact, they say 100 times quieter than a traditional helicopter. And here in New York, where you hear helicopters going overhead all the time in many urban centers, noise pollution from helicopters is a big concern. That is a pretty appealing piece of this, especially if they are going to be as common as Joby and Toyota and some major metropolitan areas want them to be.
And this thing is being investigated for Utah. You'll hear it called vertiports. Now, what would make this different is you would walk or you'd go to these vertiports, which are like these vertical tubes, and you'd go into the vertiport. That's where you would jump onto these air taxis, and then it would hop you directly to the next closest vertiport. So it's not going to drop you off at your house, it'll drop you off to the vertiport that is closest to your house. Now, one of the benefits of that is when you have a consistent point A to point B direct flight, then that helps with air traffic control, because obviously that's air traffic control is going to have to be involved in this. But you have direct hops from point A to point B, and perhaps that could be done with AI versus having a pilot that is customizing every single flight and making changes. So that is one way that has been proposed to help keep the costs down.
When do you see taking this, like in your world? Don't give me I don't want to hear
you're right.
the officials'
Rich
world.
people.
Your world. When do you see taking this and justifying the cost? Whatever it is. I mean, maybe it won't be uber expensive, but when do you see it being reasonable?
Well, if the technology continues to improve, and it's really going to have to be the cost of the vehicle itself. If that's going to cost many millions of dollars, then it's never going to be affordable. But if it can cost the same as a new car or maybe a couple of cars, it's $100,000 versus $10 million, then all of a sudden you can start charging less, and that is absolutely going to be the key.
And you would take it?
No question. If
it was reasonable.
If it were reasonable, if it's a way that we would take a taxi, the problem is you'd have to have hundreds or thousands to actually reduce the congestion. And I don't see that.
We just got word, an update. We're going to spend a good portion of the 11 o'clock hour talking about Hurricane Milton, which has his eye right now on Florida. Of course, this is on the heels of Hurricane Helene. Now a Monster 5, a Category 5 storm, according to NBC News.
Will it be like anything that Tampa has ever seen?
It will not be, because I'm 64 years old, and Helene was the worst that I've seen.
That's the mayor of Tampa warning her community about what is to come in the days ahead with Milton. Boyd Matheson begins our coverage next with the national response.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Britt Johnson. KSL's top story this hour, 201 eastbound is closed for the next 2 to 3 hours because of a road rage shooting this morning that left one person dead. Cameron Roden with UHP is live on the scene giving updates.
But right now it looks like we just have the two vehicles involved. So it does look like there was a crash that occurred.
The shooting happened this morning on the 21st South Freeway near 900 West. It's only been a few months since a new law criminalizing road rage took effect this summer in Utah.
It does enhance the penalties, so a crime that would normally be, for example, a third-degree felony, if it involves road rage, will be a second degree. It bumps it up 1 degree.
KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas tells David Dujanovic there are also new penalties in the law that could help deter road rage. That includes letting the judge take away a person's driver's license and impounding their vehicle. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Hurricane Milton is getting stronger, growing quickly from a Category 1 storm earlier this morning to a Category 5. Your money at this moment in the red. The Dow has lost 229 points. The S&P has lost 24 points. And the NASDAQ is down 84 points. Coming up, temperatures way above average. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
It's a priority for us at this station to bring you all sides of a story and to talk about the news fairly, completely.
Get all the facts and be really aware. Utah's Morning News with us, Tim and Amanda.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
If it's a door-to-door salesman, buyer beware. Hi, this is Jason.
And Kathy of Window World.
Answer that door and prepare for some serious baloney.
You know, overpriced, but on sale today.
Big special.
Manager's discount.
Model home in the neighborhood.
Remember, the sale ends today.
Hey, it's all baloney.
Window World's different.
Check windowworldutah.com.
Or call 801-281-8111.
Window World. Simply the best for less.
And as Doug always said,
that's no baloney.
Utah's biggest used RV Palooza is back and better than ever. This October 10th through the 12th at the shops at Southtown, you're getting the best deals of the season on used travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, motorhomes, and more. Shop gently used RVs at the show and save thousands over fall pricing anywhere else. Find deals starting as low as $9,995, like on a 2021 Forest River Viking LS Series M238 LS tent camper. Plus, shop select new RVs at used pricing, not to mention blowout pricing on all remaining 2024s in stock. You'll also enjoy no payments until 2025 on approved credit. Finish your fall camping season in style without a single monthly payment. And if you've got a trade, we want it. Bring it to the show to get maximum trade-in value. We're even including a 1-year Bish Fix membership with every RV purchase. Your fast track to RV service repairs. And don't miss out on our Hunter Special section to keep your hunting season going strong. All this plus free admission to the Utah Used RV Palooza. 3 days only, October 10th through the 12th at the shops at Southtown. Open daily at 10 a.m. Sponsored by Bish's RV. See you there.
Wendy's breakfast burrito has an entire breakfast in every bite. Fresh cracked eggs, seasoned potatoes, American cheese, cheese sauce, and sausage or bacon. So the first bite is like fresh cracked American cheese sauce. Bacon. And the second bite is like fresh American cheese sauce. Bacon. And the third bite, you get the idea. The boss of breakfast burritos, gotta be Wendy's.
Participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Febreze. So my home is also my office. And before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up, then spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
God called Joseph Smith in the Sacred Grove. God called Brigham Young in a second grove in 1844. Joseph was martyred. Enemies hoped the church would die too. There was talk of multiple successors. Nauvoo was in chaos. But God made his will known during a conference with hundreds of saints witnessing. 6 days in August. Film opens Thursday, but Cinemark is offering sneak peeks tonight. Take your family tonight. Learn more about Brigham Young. Hurry. Limited tickets at 6daysinAugust.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Mark Christiansen.
Well, the emergency closure is eastbound 201 freeway. It's been a mess all morning. They've got traffic closed off at Redwood Road. The other alternatives are going to be 35th south to go eastbound or I-80 to go eastbound. They're not letting you past Redwood Road. Now, the good news in that is that the delays are now only back to the 215 split. So if you're headed eastbound on 201, you can at least get to 215 pretty quick now, but you will not be able to go much further past that to Redwood Road very quick at all. And this could go for another couple of hours. No other problems showing up at this point in the mid-morning here along the Wasatch Front. Get Mr. Mac's Performance Missionary Package, 1 performance suit, 4 collar stretch shirts, 3 ties, 1 missionary belt, and 1 pair of Eco or Johnston & Murphy shoes. Just $595. Mark Christiansen in the KSL Traffic Center.
The high today, 84. Temperatures 10 to 15 degrees above average this entire week. They'll top out in the low to mid 80s each day and sunny skies all week as well. Right now, it's 70 degrees and sunny. I'm Britt Johnson from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories. On KSL News Radio, Dave and Dujanovic have inside sources.
Okay. Caitlin, did we just pull this weather report from WFTV in Florida? Okay, I want to bring Boyd into this conversation that in a moment, Dave, about this now Category 5 hurricane by the name of Milton that has an eye apparently on the Tampa area. Here's the weather report that we just got from WFTV that is, of course, watching this Category 5 with sustained winds of like 160 miles an hour in the Gulf of Mexico.
This storm is expected to continue to strengthen. When you talk about rapid intensification, we've mentioned it before. This storm is doing just that, and at impressive speeds. Just over the weekend on Saturday, you were probably watching us on Eyewitness News. It was just a tropical storm by around this time on Saturday. So in 48 hours, we've gone from a tropical storm all the way up to a Category 4 storm. But again, expected to see that strength. And you can see by tomorrow morning, winds of 160 miles per hour. Staying as
NBC
a major
News
hurricane
reporting
as it
that it's
progresses
now
into the
a
Gulf of
monster, in
Mexico.
their words, Category 5 storm. And I know I saw earlier today CBS News interviewing the mayor of Tampa.
We haven't been hit directly by a major hurricane in over 100 years. If Milton stays on the designated path, it will be catastrophic for our area.
Yeah, it looks like it's heading from west to east, and that it will pass directly over Florida. It's not going to take that big turn they don't anticipate like Helene did, where it went up through Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina.
So, Boyd, let's talk about this from the national response. What are you watching? What have you noticed? What are your concerns?
So obviously there's still a lot of concerns coming on the back end in terms of what happened with Helene. Obviously in the face of another one going to make landfall probably by Wednesday. They're anticipating that Milton will make landfall there, and so a lot of it starts to look at what happened, what did they miss. Some of the finger pointing and placing blame has already begun on the political football side of all of this. These things are very difficult to navigate through. So there's always plenty of things to criticize and do that. I know there will be some things around funding. Congress, before they left town for in-state work period, a.k.a. election season, they did pass an additional $20 billion for FEMA so that they would have additional funds. They'll probably have to plus that up at some point along the way. Speaker Mike Johnson wasn't too keen to call everyone back, but my guess is depending on what happens with Milton, that may be a necessity before we get to the November election.
Boyd, what is a reasonable expectation when a natural disaster like this hits? What should we be looking for from the federal government? Like how much involvement?
Well, the federal government has a huge role to play because there are just so many of those things that there's just no way a little city or a little county can figure out what to do with all of that. You start just doing the math on things like trees down, power lines, sewage system. I mean, you just go, the list is just infinite. I don't know how they do it. Like, that's another worldly skill set. And so there'll be plenty of criticism for what didn't happen or didn't get done on the front end. This is complicated stuff. And so I think while we always want transparency and accountability to make sure there's no, abuse or anything like that, but this is one of those that is not an easy thing to say, oh, yeah, the storm's going to come, we're going to do this, then we'll do that, because it rarely happens that way.
Well, if you look at what happened in Helene, what happened, let's just use Asheville, North Carolina, for example, hundreds of miles away from where Helene hit shore in Florida, not expecting it to dissolve as quickly as it did to a tropical storm, and then make a beeline for Atlanta. We were reporting on the air. I mean, it seemed like Helene had just hit Florida. Then all of a sudden we're recognizing that there's flooding going on in Georgia.
Yeah.
And then we've got a situation where it's hitting parts of Tennessee. And then it absolutely wipes small communities off the face of the planet in North Carolina. So I'm not sure anybody, I mean, I'm certainly not a weather person, no meteorologist over here, but we were not expecting Asheville, North Carolina, and some of these smaller communities around that area to be wiped out.
Yeah, and that's why I think one of the things that highlights is, one, just the uncertainty of all of that. Even the best laid plans, best predictions don't always account for what actually happens once a storm like that or a natural disaster takes place. It also speaks a lot, though, to how cities and towns and organizations should plan for disasters. Because you don't know, it may say, we're kind of out of the storm zone, or we haven't had an earthquake here for a long time. I know those are things you guys always talk about on this show. And so it's a real thing. And when you don't do the things on the front end, you're going to get hit on the back end. And it's one of those, I always say, when the day the journey begins is not the day the journey begins. And nowhere is that more true than in a natural disaster. The day that journey begins was 6 months ago or a year ago in some of these towns and cities that could have said, well, we probably ought to shore up our back end stuff if we do get hit by a natural disaster or a storm of some kind.
And there is federal funding, or at least there are resources or grants to help with some of these things. But I guess just like with anything in Washington, it can be so burdensome and complicated that it's not worth the hassle.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you just a quick example of that. So one of the things that people are looking at and that the Biden administration has called for was there was this little piece of funding within FEMA for small business recovery. And it was one of those things that in all the negotiations of all the different spending bills got taken off. And so now suddenly you've got small business owners in places like North Carolina and Florida and Georgia who don't have access to a bucket of funds that maybe they could have. Then you have all these other buckets of funds, and this is where it gets very political. We've heard everything from accusations that, counties that are heavily Republican are not getting help and not getting aid, and those things are just not true. The FEMA professionals are the
they
utmost.
Don't care about that.
They're not asking you for your voter ID.
The National Guard gets called out by the governors,
exactly.
And they are responding.
Exactly, and
first
so
responders even from Utah are there helping.
That's right. So there's been other things about FEMA funds being used for illegal aliens coming across the border. Now, this is a classic example of two things that are true getting conflated. So there has been FEMA funds over the years used under the Biden administration under the food and shelter clause of FEMA to help illegal aliens that were across the border in some of these towns that were just overwhelmed. So that is a true thing. But then you also have some people saying, well, people in North Carolina are not getting funds because FEMA helps some illegal aliens. And that's not true. Those are different buckets of money. They're different funding mechanisms. And so it is one of those where you do have to be cautious and careful, especially 30 days out from an election. Both sides are weaponizing this, sadly, for political benefit to say, oh, we would have done this, or we did it better, or they're doing a horrible job, or they don't care about you. And those are the things that we just got to step away from and say, hey, that's not the conversation today. How do we help these people? What can we do today to make it better?
Boyd, thank you for joining us. Boyd Matheson, Inside Sources today starts at 1.
So Be Ready Utah, speaking of disaster preparedness, is prepared to join our show in about 3 minutes from now because Dave caught this story where there was a concern over people dragging, backup generators and using them inside their homes during a natural disaster. And it sounded like you caught a warning from Governor Ron DeSantis about this earlier.
Yeah, Governor DeSantis was concerned about that, saying, be careful, don't fire up your generators with some of this stuff going on. And I thought, well, isn't that the very reason we have generators? So I wanted to know more about safe use. When should you use it? I know we don't get hurricanes here, but I want to hear a best practice of when and how to use your generators.
Dave and Dujanovic.
A lot of us are filling our workdays with podcasts.
When you're working, go to KSLNewsRadio.com.
Click on Dave and Debbie's podcast and pick a topic and story length.
Podcast with Dave and Debbie. Then get to work with KSL News Radio.
I'm Utah Tax Attorney Jordan Wilcox. Listen to what actual clients have had to say about working with us.
Hi, I'm Gary. I'm a building contractor. About a year prior to the market crashing, we had a big job that was unable to pay a bill of about 6 figures. We were still left with a very difficult situation with the IRS. Eventually, at the end of the day, I realized that the penalties and interest were growing faster than my ability to save to deal with it. I had talked to people and I felt that Jordan Wilcox represented best what I thought could help me, primarily because they were local, and I needed a bigger solution than I was coming up with. It takes too long to figure it out on your own.
Hi, I'm Jordan Wilcox. You need a tax attorney that's not afraid to fight for you. Visit taxhelput.com to schedule your free consultation.
I would recommend Jordan Wilcox. It feels very good to not have the IRS on your back.
That's taxhelput.com.
1 year later.
This is a music festival. Teenagers came to hear music, to dance.
We were just trying to stay alive.
What is the chance for peace?
Multiple missiles penetrating that missile defense shield, one north of Tel Aviv.
We explore what the future holds in a widening conflict. The war in Gaza. This week on KSL News Radio.
Beatty, Nevada, your getaway to Death Valley, an entryway to a true desert adventure. Enjoy exciting offerings for all your senses and imagination. In Beatty, visit Eddie World, the largest candy store in Nevada, and visit their historic museum. the ghost town of Rhyolite, and see sculptures in the desert at Goldwell. Hiking, biking, and hundreds of miles of ATV trails await you. For the ultimate adventure, make Beatty, Nevada your next destination and claim a free gift at BeattyNevada.org. Wrangle up some fun at Beatty Days 2024, Friday, October 25th through Sunday, October 27th. It's old-fashioned family fun with a chili cook-off, live music, bed races, a classic car show, cornhole and horseshoe tournaments, model railroads, a parade, food and craft vendors, contests for everyone, and lots more. The fun is in Beatty, Nevada this October 25th through the 27th. Visit BeattyNevada.org for the full schedule. That's BeattyNevada.org.
Any Hour Services can help you make sure your furnace keeps you warm this winter. Whether you need a tune-up, a repair, or a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer: the Drug Facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the Drug Facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/Drug Facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson. Our goal every day on Inside Sources is to help you divide the rage from the reason, elevate the conversation, connect the dots, and make the news make sense in your world. We have conversations with great thinkers, with great leaders, and great people who are just out there making a difference in the world. Now, we do talk about politics, but only so we can discuss society and culture. And then we explore society and culture so we can discuss principles and the people in America and the state of Utah who actually live them and apply them every day. We bring the best and brightest minds to the state of Utah, and we love to take the Utah model and send it out to our nation's capital and beyond. Every day on Inside Sources, you'll be part of that conversation. To help you understand things in a different way, we'll get you to think again about what you think you know, but most important, we're going to help you have confidence to have crucial conversations in your community and in your own home.
Join Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson, 1 to 3 on KSL News Radio.
Emergency traffic brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Eastbound 201 still remains closed due to the investigation of an earlier shooting at about 9th West or so. All the traffic is being diverted off of the freeway at Redwood Road. Right now, the good news with this, within the last 20 minutes or so, we've seen the traffic through the area diminish slightly. So up until about 2:15, you won't see much of the traffic delay. But if you're trying to make your way past 2:15 to go further eastbound, it's pretty much not going to happen. You'll have to get off at Redwood Road anyway. So traffic's still a little tight through that area from 2:15 to Redwood Road. Mark Christiansen in the KSL Traffic Center.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Britt Johnson. First, 201 eastbound is closed for the next 2 to 3 hours because of a road rage shooting this morning that left 1 person dead. Second, it's only been a few months since a new law criminalizing road rage took effect this summer in Utah. Third, Hurricane Milton is getting stronger, growing quickly from a Category 1 storm earlier this morning to a Category 5 in Florida. Right now it's 73 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Be ready, Utah. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
Well, we know that Floridians are in store for what could be or could become the largest evacuation effort in the state's history, or at least recent history, with a Category 5 hurricane named Milton, about 700 miles away right now from Tampa. And then Dave saw an announcement this morning by Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, that really caught his attention, especially when it comes to our own efforts to be ready just in case of an earthquake.
He was talking about portable generators, and obviously with more than 4 million people that went without power during Hurricane Helene, obviously people were busting out their portable generators, and he said just be very careful with them. They can be deadly. And I thought, who better to talk to about the dangers of generator use than Be Ready Utah? So let's pick some brains here. Give us an idea. What are some of the concerns with a portable generator?
This is Ken Crowdy with the Utah Division of Emergency Management. Hi, Ken. I don't know if we've talked to you before on the show, so welcome to the show.
Hey, I've been there before.
Awesome.
I love you guys.
All
Happy
right.
to be here.
Oh,
Yes,
good.
you
Thanks
bet.
for coming back. I guess you're a friend of the show now. If you're coming back again. So Dave got some great
That's
questions
right.
about this.
What are some of those concerns you have, or what should we be aware of with generators?
Boy, a couple of things. You know, they can keep your lights on, your refrigerator cold, and your electronics charged, but never use a generator inside your home or garage, even if the windows and doors are open. That's one of the main things to concern yourself with. Also, place generators outside the home at least 20 feet away from windows, doors, and vents. And so those are a couple of cautions to think about. The exhaust should be pointed away from your house. And then keep in mind that not only do you want to purchase a generator, but you've got extension cords that go along with those generators. And so you want to make sure that those are heavy-duty type extension cords, 10-gauge, 15-amp, heavy-duty extension cords to be used with generators. There's several types of generators, of course. There's the portable gasoline and propane, and also the solar-type generator. There's also generators that can run your whole house if you'd like to purchase those. The best thing to do is to go online to find out the generator that just works best for you. So those are the couple of thoughts that I would have about generators.
What should I prioritize with my generator use?
Well, with our family, we prioritize the food situation. We wanted a generator that would make sure that the refrigerator is kept cold. And so that can be done with a fairly inexpensive generator just outside your home. And now they make them with the solar generators as well. So food, I think, is one of the priorities that you should make. And then after that, there might be a CPAP machine that's being used or some other electronic item that has to have power in order to, keep your life going. And so those are some priorities you'd want to make.
So generators inside homes, a huge no-no. I would imagine that this could lead to potential carbon monoxide poisoning, but I'm not the expert, Ken. What do you know about that?
That's exactly right. Never have a generator running inside your house or even inside your garage. The best thing to do is to always have the generator outside the house. That's why you need to have extension cords that would be running from your generator to the facilities that you wanted to have power. So carbon monoxide is a major concern. You just don't even think about having a generator inside your house or your garage. And 10 feet away from the house when you have it outside, at least 10 feet, maybe 20 feet.
When I saw this post from Governor Ron DeSantis in Florida, who obviously they are dealing with this, 4 million people in the southeast part of the country went without power, and he was trying to keep everybody safe. One of the things, as he was talking about generators, was to avoid electrocution, and discuss about making sure that the generators are on a dry, flat surface, because if some of that flooding does happen, that's when some of the electrocution can be triggered.
Had never heard of that, but that's a very good point. I think that makes a lot of sense. Have the generator on a dry, flat surface.
Okay, so, and we're talking about these ones that are portable, right? Because aren't there generators that you can have, outside of your home, Ken, that are, kind of cemented in an area, and they're not going to be movable?
Well, there are some, too, that kind of are on wheels. I mean, there's the portable type that can just sit on your desk, of course. Those are the lithium-powered ones, and they have solar-powered that can just run your computer and your laptop and maybe a couple of lights or whatever. And then there's the portable-type generator that, is actually a little heavy. I mean, it's got wheels that you have to kind of use to move them around with. And then there's the huge generator that does sit on a pad that is not portable at all, that it's permanent, and it runs your whole house. And so those are the kinds of generators you can purchase.
So can you just back up to the solar powered? Maybe I'm getting confused. Those can be on a desk inside your home? Is that what you said? A solar powered generator, Ken, just to clarify? Ken, that you said that could be on your desk?
Well, when I use the solar power generator, the solar equipment is used to charge the generator so that you can bring it inside after it's charged. You use the solar equipment to charge your generator, and then you can bring it inside to run your laptop, for example.
So that's not one that's going to be emitting carbon monoxide, correct?
No.
Okay.
No,
It's
that's
the
correct.
other ones.
Yeah, that's a good
okay.
point. Right.
Well, thank you so much. Appreciate that clarification for me.
So I do know that the generator that I have, it runs on multiple fuels. It can either run on gas or propane. Can you walk us through some of those things or what to look for?
Best thing to do would probably be to Google that question, and find out online what that might be in terms of, the advantages of either. Some, have dual capacity. They can run on either or. Some, will just run on propane, or some will just run on gasoline. I'm not sure if I can give you much more information about that than what I know.
Oh, that's great. Thanks, Ken. We appreciate you joining us. Ken Crowdy with the Utah Division of Emergency Management. We appreciate you sharing your expertise, because that's what stood out to me. Obviously, when power goes out, we're so desperate to get it back. These are great reminders, and make sure you never use a generator indoor, not in a garage. Keep it 20 feet away from the home, and then to avoid electrocution, use generators on a dry, flat surface.
I want to get you back to Florida real quick in an update earlier this morning from Governor Ron DeSantis, when we were hearing at that point that winds were gusting at about 150 miles an hour. Now they're sustained in some cases up to 160 miles an hour. And Milton is a Category 5, according to NBC News.
Landfall is going to happen probably sometime later Wednesday, maybe early Thursday, and it could potentially speed up, and so maybe it'll be a little earlier than that. It could continue slowing. Maybe it'll be a little less, but there is going to be a landfall in the middle of this week. We don't know exactly how it's going to go. I know they say the eye is going to go here or here. That can move when you're talking about 30, 40, 50 miles north or south. Will make a huge difference in terms of who gets the worst surge, how much power is ended up taken out. And so we have no way of knowing how that's going to shake out. So the resources are being brought in, and the power restoration effort will begin as soon as it's safe to do so.
And right now, a Category 5 hurricane, which is what this hurricane is, that is the top-rated hurricane there is. There is no Category 6. It's just a Category 5. Now, the hope and the optimism here is that it peaks right now in the Gulf of Mexico, and that by the time it hits Florida in a day or two, then it will have dissipated or at least grown to the point where it's not going to hit the coast at a Category 5. So that's kind of the hope there, that even though it's really big right now, that's actually a good thing, that it peaks and then it comes down.
For your ride home this afternoon, definitely be tuning in to Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News, where they will have the latest on Hurricane Milton. As right now, its eye is on Tampa. That could be some of the largest evacuations in store in Florida in recent memory. Straight ahead, we're going to take you back to the scene of a fatal road rage shooting on eastbound 201 this morning. Lieutenant Cameron Roden of the Utah Highway Patrol calling the show in the 9 o'clock hour, telling us it began at about 5:20 a.m.
Well, we really don't have many reports of really very many other witnesses. So if there are others that saw this incident that can help us, that has information that may even have video or anything like that, we encourage them. Please contact the Utah Highway Patrol Dispatch Center. Any information would be appreciated.
It's 11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Britt Johnson. KSL's top story this hour, we're still dealing with the fallout of a deadly road rage shooting this morning. Authorities have a suspect in custody, but 201 eastbound will still be closed for the next couple of hours. And now other recent road rage incidents are top of mind. Wasatch County officials are still searching for whoever shot and killed a man in an apparent road rage incident. KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi reports.
61-year-old Patrick Hayes of Hideout, Utah, was reportedly shot and killed near the Ross Creek Trail north of the Jordanelle Reservoir on September 25th. A vehicle was seen in security footage showing it appears to be a Jeep Gladiator or Rubicon. The video shows Hayes approach the driver of the Jeep before getting shot. Police are asking for anyone who may have been in the area around 11 p.m. that night and may have seen or possibly recorded the four-wheel drive SUV during their travels. Tammy Kikuchi, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Hurricane Milton is getting stronger, growing quickly from a Category 1 storm earlier this morning to a Category 5.
As it continues on, potentially weakening to a Category 4, maybe even a Category 3, still a major hurricane, as it's making landfall either Wednesday night or Thursday morning.
ABC News meteorologist Kenton Kiyuki reporting. Your money at this moment, the Dow has lost 262 points, the S&P is down 27 points, and the NASDAQ is down 91 points. Coming up, there will be sunshine all week long. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:32.
Here's a way to get breaking news updates anywhere you go.
At the store or in a work meeting, you can get breaking news on your phone.
You can quickly read it, swipe, or click for more. It's super discreet, super fast.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
One of the things I was looking for when I wanted to lose some weight was a program that didn't involve surgery. I didn't want to do the injections. I didn't want it to be so complicated, the point counting, that I couldn't keep track of it, and I'd spend all day just logging everything into my phone. I didn't want to exercise, and I didn't want to have to buy their prepackaged meals. I know that sounds like a lot of I don't want to, which is why I'm so glad I found Salt Lake City Fat Loss, because their program does it without surgery, injections, point counting, exercising, or prepackaged meals. That is the secret, and the results have been incredible. In fact, I lost 57 pounds in 60 days. Many clients will lose 20 to 30 pounds in just a month or two. And because the results were so great, I stayed invested, I stayed on the program, and I didn't cheat, and I stayed motivated. So if you're interested, results, again, obviously vary, but results were the key for me. Salt Lake City Fat Loss will do a free consultation with you. All you have to do is go to their website, sign up, slcfatloss.com. And if you use my name, you're going to get an extra $200 off the program. Just go to slcfatloss.com.
Winter is coming, but there's still time to replace those drafty old windows before the cold comes and drives up your heating bill. Just make one call and take advantage of the Advanced Window Products Fall Special. $2,500 off on 10 windows or more, and that's $2,500 off their already low factory direct prices, because at Advanced Window Products, they're the factory. Your windows are built in their facility right here in Salt Lake City. You're buying local, and with their lifetime guarantee, you don't ever have to call some faraway state for help. Advanced Window Products is right here, proudly backing up their work. So make one call, save on your heating bill, and get a rebate from the energy companies. Advanced Window Products offers 0% financing. They can even give you amazing new windows with no money down. And don't forget, $2,500 off their factory direct prices, but you have to call now. Advanced Window Products, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
Hey BYU fans, this is Mitch Harper. Undefeated BYU football is back from the bye week and ready to host the Arizona Wildcats in Provo. And to get ready for the Big 12 cat fight, visit your local Macy's grocery store for all of your game day needs. They've got great prices on all of your favorite game day items like the burger patties, made fresh dips, and more. And did you know your favorite tailgate foods are also now offered through Macy's Catering? They offer a wide variety of catering platters, from the smoked meats, wings, and even desserts. Catering is available to order online or in store. So whether you're having a small or large party, Macy's has you covered. And never miss a deal when you sign up for Macy's Rewards program, so you can get their weekly ads sent straight to your inbox each week.
Hi, this is BYU captain and defensive end Tyler Batty. It's football season again. Make sure to shop your local Macy's grocery stores for all your favorite tailgate foods.
Get game day ready with Macy's. Happy shopping.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Ricky Meese.
Well, the closure is still in place on the 21st South Freeway from an earlier police activity and crash. If you are traveling that direction or hoping to, eastbound SR 201 is closed for about a mile near Redwood Road. Now, you can exit before the closure, and you can get back on after the closure. But right now, that's still expected to be closed for at least another hour. Struggling with vision loss, the Utah State Library and Services for the Blind and Visually Impaired can help. Enjoy a free event October 10th from 9 to 2 at 250 North, 1950 West in Salt Lake. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Warm and sunny, a high of 84 today, and it will look like this the entire 7-day forecast. In fact, we don't have any moisture in the forecast for another 2 weeks. Right now it's 75 degrees and sunny. I'm Britt Johnson from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
We just communicated with the Utah Highway Patrol. Lieutenant Cameron Roden has been really great to stay in touch with our team here at KSL News Radio, telling us that eastbound 201, where that road rage shooting allegedly at this point, no official charges filed yet from what we know. Of course, that would be super early in the investigation. This happened at 5:20 this morning. Eastbound 201 at about 9th West. But we want to get you right over to the traffic center and our expert on traffic, Ricky Meese, who's keeping an eye on the cameras. Ricky, bring us up to date with the traffic situation there, and then in a few minutes we're going to get in depth with what we know about this shooting this morning.
Well, we do know that there were 2 people involved in the shooting, and right now we still have emergency crews on the scene. Anytime we have a crash that's a fatal, that's an automatic 2 hours to investigate a scene. But this was a crash complicated by police activity, and that means it was going to be closed for quite some time because that's just another layer of investigation that authorities need to do. And so right now, the 21st South Freeway is still closed eastbound, and this is near Redwood Road, and it is not expected to reopen until about 12:45 today. So hopefully within the noon hour, we will see this closure lifted.
So, Ricky, as you were saying, very common if there is a death for it to be a minimum of a couple of hours as the investigation proceeds.
Right. And whenever we have a fatal accident on the freeway or a side street or a highway, and there are differences in all of that, they are surveying the area. They're taking photos. They're taking measurements. They're trying to calculate what was involved, speed, substances, were there illegal movements on the road that impacted this accident. All of that has to be done in an environment that's safe for those who are on the scene investigating. And that's why they have to keep all other traffic out. They don't want any other debris in the area contaminating the scene, or people and pedestrians trying to get in that area. They've got to keep that scene as original and clear as possible so they can come to the best decisions and calculations
Ricky,
on that investigation.
Real quickly, can you tell us what the best route is for people so they don't get caught up in any sort of closure, at least until 1 o'clock this afternoon?
Yeah. Well, right now, honestly, there's not a lot of backup on the 201. If you are heading on the 21st South Freeway eastbound, exit at Bangerter. Or you could avoid the 201 and use I-80 altogether, and then you have your surface streets. Those are the options.
Thanks, Ricky. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center keeping an eye for us on eastbound 201. 900 West, that area was shut down. It began at about 5:20 this morning, according to our earlier interview this morning with Utah Highway Patrol Lieutenant Cameron Roden.
So it was early this morning. We had reports of a road rage situation on SR 201 eastbound. We are still looking into see exactly what happened, but it sounds like this ended in shots fired. And at this point, we have one individual that is deceased and the other involved in custody working with law enforcement.
Now, some of the things that we've learned this morning, Debbie, is specifically about road rage and road rage in Utah, in part because of a new law that was passed that took place and began in July that started tracking specifically road rage incidents.
Well, we also had our team behind the scenes, our news director, Becky Bruce, going through, combing through stories, looking on the internet, looking through stories that we've covered. And what we found out is that we have had at least double the number of road rage cases in which a gun was involved in 2024. So this year compared to last. Of course, we've got 3 more months left in this year. So our team of reporters and producers are combing through news reports from at least the last 2 years, she's told us, to compile that number. And in 2023, there were at least 7 road rage cases in which someone either fired a gun or brandished it. That's across the state of Utah. So, and we've already seen 14 so far in 2024. So 7 last year, 14 this year. We had a fatal shooting this morning. It began at 5:20. UHP telling us earlier in the show it started, they believe, at around I-215. It ended at 9th West on the 201. Freeway's been shut down since very early this morning. I believe it'll be on hour about 7 by the time they get it reopened. We know that one person is in custody. We know that one person will not be going home to their family. They were shot dead. We know that there were only 2 people involved in this because we asked them specifically, were there any other passengers in the car? It was a driver-on-driver situation, and we also asked if this was possibly some sort of shooting related to self-defense. Too early in the investigation to come to any sort of conclusion on that.
I was reading an Axios article, and it was talking about how often guns are used in road rage incidents, and what they found through the research was over the last 10 years, the situations where a gun is used have leapt 450% in just the last 10 years. Guns being used in road rage incidents.
So this shooting today, I do not want to conflate in any way, suggest that this is any way related to what happened just a couple of weeks ago. It was probably 10 days ago at Jordanelle Reservoir, where we got word of a man's body at Jordanelle. And unfortunately, what also happened in that situation, according to the sheriff's office in Wasatch County, is that it appears at this point that a man lost his life to a shooting. Preceded or after an apparent road rage incident where he'd left the community, the town of Midvale, at about 9:30 in the evening, was driving home to his home outside of Park City, and somehow there was some sort of altercation involving what they believe is a Jeep Gladiator, maybe a Jeep Rubicon. They weren't quite sure what the model of was this particular Jeep was, Dave. But that incident, the shooting, was caught on camera, according to the sheriff's office, up in the Jordanelle area at the state park. It was caught on a state park camera. Now, I'm saying this because this is would be the second fatal shooting that's related to road rage, according to authorities, in just the last several days here in Utah. That one was caught on camera from the best of my knowledge, and we should certainly be checking with the Wasatch County Sheriff's Office. There has not been an arrest made in that case. Now, I want to talk about this morning just briefly. The Utah Patrol says that they will be asking for, and they have been asking for, and they will be knocking on doors of businesses, because likely that's, if anything's been captured on camera, on the 201 this morning, it would be a business on like a fixed camera outside the business, or perhaps a dash cam video. But look, we have gotten to the point here that personally, I get nervous. I get nervous about driving. I get nervous for you all driving. I feel as though if there's anything that we can do to, first of all, tamp down our own emotions, do it. The second thing is, if we can do anything to help police solve these cases by providing video, by providing eyewitness accounts, I do feel like there's a community responsibility and our duty to do what we can to get justice for these individual families who are suffering so.
Great point. And my final takeaway is, listen, we've all been road raged or been road raged against. What I'm learning now, or what I'm realizing, is, the middle fingers, the colorful language of the past is not the threat anymore. You have to look at it, and no matter what the person that brake checked you or cut you off is, you have to be aware and think, this could turn into a shootout. Is it worth it? Of course not.
Dave and Dujanovic.
You know KSL is the only news radio for your car, right?
The only news radio for your smart speaker.
Come here in the morning. It's the latest news and traffic. In the afternoon, news and updated weather.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy, or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. Did you know that we offer 3 distinct styles of gutter protection? Each one meant to handle a specific leaf problem. You might not even know there are different styles of gutter protection, but there are. And if you pick the wrong one, it could be a huge waste of money. Now, the big gutter guard companies won't tell you this. They try to sell you a one-size-fits-all gutter guard. And it could be completely wrong for the amount and types of trees and leaves you have. Not RGS Exteriors. We understand which kind of leaf problem needs which kind of gutter guard. We'll do an in-depth evaluation to assess the types, locations, and numbers of trees in your yard. Based on that data, we match your home to the right gutter guard. So don't risk wasting money on the wrong gutter protection. For a free evaluation and estimate, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit rgsexteriors.com. That's 801-280-3110 or rgsexteriors.com.
Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Since their founding in 1972, LSI has been a trusted resource to Fortune 500 companies, federal agencies, and state and municipal entities in the areas of business development, economic development, and social impact. Engagement Lead of Economic Development and Social Impact, Tanisa Wright, joins us with more.
LSI is a comprehensive services provider that drives business growth and opportunity while fostering community-based economic prosperity. We specialize in managing operations, supply chain management, and logistics performance to ensure our clients achieve exceptional results. At LSI, we believe in the power of strong relationships and leadership to propel industries forward. Our commitment to excellence has made us a trusted partner in economic development and business innovation. Whether it's optimizing supply chains, enhancing operational efficiency, or supporting community growth, our clients win with LSI. We are dedicated to creating value and delivering impactful results that support sustainable growth and success. Discover how LSI can help you achieve your goals and drive your business to new heights. Learn more at lsiwins.com.
With more than 50 years of business development and strategic experience, LSI has valuable insight into the dynamics that shape business and economic growth. To learn how they can drive your business forward, visit the LSI website. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Britt Johnson. First, we're still dealing with the fallout of a deadly road rage shooting this morning. Authorities have a suspect in custody, but 201 eastbound will still be closed for the next couple of hours. Second, Wasatch County officials are still searching for whoever shot and killed a man in an apparent road rage incident that happened just a couple of weeks ago. Third, President Biden and First Lady today joining Rabbi Aaron Alexander for candle lighting in remembrance of the October 7th attacks in Israel. The rabbi spoke a traditional Jewish prayer for those who have died. Right now it's 75 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave, and Dujanovic.
It is October 7th, which means today marks 1 year since the Hamas attack on Israel. And Dave, you and I were talking about it a year ago, and yet today, here we are still. How many, is it 100 hostages that people who are still being held hostage by Hamas?
Yes, 100 hostages that were taken on October 7th. 4 Americans, according to the Washington Post, are still missing. And joining us right now from News Nation is senior national security contributor Lieutenant General Richard Newton. And Lieutenant General, can you give us an idea? Are we any closer to getting these hostages home?
Well, good morning. It certainly is a significant day, not only in the history of Israel, but I would also think for all Americans as well. This is essentially a 9/11-like attack against Israel. Of course, we all remember what happened in the United States on the morning of our 9/11. But nonetheless, there are still reportedly 101 hostages still remaining to be freed. My sources tell me, and my military advice to you would be there's probably a significantly less of 101 who are even perhaps alive right now under the brutal hands of Hamas. But nonetheless, our thoughts and prayers are still with those hostages as well as the families of those hostages. And anywhere between 4 to 6 of those hostages are Americans. And so, but we're nowhere closer to getting those hostages home than we were, say, even several weeks, maybe several months or so ago. There's certainly no ceasefire deal in the making right now. And Israel is still engaging with a brutal terror organization with some of their foot soldiers of Hamas still are in control of some parts of Gaza as well as control of the remaining hostages.
Is there any negotiation going on that you're aware of at all for the return or even the recovery of these hostages?
There may be some very low level, but there's nothing really of significance in terms of hostage negotiation or ceasefire negotiations right now. The main parties for those being led by the United States, as well as with Egypt and Qatar and Israel, as well as Hamas themselves. But each time there seems to be, at least in the last several months, a potential opportunity for some ceasefire deal of some kind. It's Hamas that seems to be walking away from the table. They want two things. They first want a permanent ceasefire, which means there's no more Israeli occupation or military activities. Secondly, they want the Israeli defense forces out of Gaza. Essentially, what that means is Hamas would win in that case, and Israel's not going to, negotiate that point. Nor would I want them to anyway. That's just a bad position for Israel, as well as moving forward. They're trying to maintain some peace in that part of Israel.
General Newton, you mentioned 9/11, and this is Israel's 9/11. But our 9/11 launched a 20-year war in Iraq and Afghanistan. It was a $1 trillion war. Can you give us an idea? Is there a better exit strategy for the Israelis than we clearly had when we began our war?
Yeah, Dave, your question raised is an exceptional point. I think what you're seeing is a very significant shift on Israel's national security posture, becoming much more aggressive, rather than taking on in small conflicts. They're under attack on multiple fronts. But you're going to see them shift to a more aggressive shift where they conduct preemptive attacks. And so you may see a series of preemptive attacks now, what I would say for the foreseeable future. It all points back, however. The head of the snake is Iran. Iran is the they're the ones who organize, train, equip, and fund these terrorist organizations. Iran is the largest exporter of terrorism in the world. For instance, with Hezbollah to the north in Lebanon, Hezbollah is a significant paramilitary capability, a terrorist organization with 100,000 foot soldiers, as well as up to 100 to 125,000 missiles and cruise missiles and rockets and so forth. Hamas in Gaza, we know about their brutal attack on the 7th of October. I may add, by the way, Hezbollah started attacking Israel with rockets and missiles on the 8th of October and they've been relentless. And that's why you've seen the exodus of 70,000 Israeli citizens up northern part of Israel in the southern, between Israel and Lebanon, up in the southern Lebanese border. And then, of course, you got the Houthis who have stopped major commercial shipping in the free seas up in the Red Sea and so forth. But nonetheless, it's what we call, or Israel calls it, a ring of fire. And so they're under the constant attack under since 7 October, yes. But I think that's why, long answer to a short question, you're going to see more of a preemptive attack security posture for Israel for the foreseeable future.
Lieutenant General Richard Newton is joining us from News Nation. He's the senior national security contributor. Do you think Hamas has been shocked by Israel's strong response?
Absolutely. This was not part of their calculus, Dave. They had not really. Their intention was to try to kill as many Israeli citizens as they possibly can. They took the hostages. They took 250 hostages. That was all by their design of their terror playbook, in order to use them as leverage in the event that they were going to be put into a corner like they are now and nearly defeated. And so that's why they're using them almost as pawns on a battlefield. But I think Hamas is not only shocked by this, Iran is shocked by this. Iran had not anticipated the strength, and certainly now to date the political strength of Prime Minister Netanyahu in his own country, but also the fortitude, I think, and the resolve of the Israeli Defense Forces on multiple fronts. Again, on Hamas in Gaza, on Hezbollah in the north in Lebanon, which is actually a terror organization inside of a state of Lebanon that actually controls Lebanon. And even the Houthis have been preemptively attacked by Israel, long range, about 1,000 miles travel from Israel, and attacked some of their missile sites that have put in harm's way U.S. Navy ships and other commercial ships as well. So the resolve of Israel is clear, and Hamas, now nearly decimated, certainly had not had that in their original calculus.
Thank you so much for joining us, Lieutenant General Richard Newton from News Nation.
Yeah, we appreciate your time. Also want to let you know that straight ahead in our noon hour, Maria will have more on the fatal shooting involving what UHP referred to all morning long with us as a road rage-related incident.
Well, we really don't have many reports of really very many other witnesses. So if there are others that saw this incident that can help us, that has information that
Utah Highway Patrol asking for anybody who may have witnessed this incident at 5:20 this morning on eastbound 201 to please give them a call. Of course, the freeway has been shut down for hours. Maria also will have the latest on that.